Abibitumi, Abibifahodie. This is Abibifahodie coming at you live from Abibitumi headquarters in the eastern region of Ghana. And I am black-sided to be here with you because today we have the launch of the Abibitumi Conference and the Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival 2026. And I just want to welcome everyone. Akwaba, mimangina akwaba, akabo. Excellency Jam, karibuni. Welcome to all of you to this live broadcast, and it is going to be a blacktastic, blacknificent, spectacular time that we're going to have together. So, again, this is day 3 of a black amazing, what has been a black amazing time. We've had hundreds of people who viewed live and even more who have viewed, after the fact, checking out the replay. So, again, this is day 3 of the 20th anniversary series, and I'm just very, very black-sided to be here with you. And, essentially what we're doing is that the Abibitumi Conference is really, transforming into an institution here in Ghana where, traditional rulers come, government officials from both Ghana and Burkina Faso, superstars come, award-winning, Grammy award-winning artists come to the conference, come to the festival, youth, children, everyday people from throughout, the continent, the so-called diaspora everywhere. This is the place to be. And again, this is marking the 20th year of Abibitumi, which was founded as its own independent website. We registered the domain name on April 12, 2006. Here we are in 2026, and we are 20 years going strong and making it happen. Black power, Black liberation for Black people exclusively. We've now transformed that digital space into a physical space. The physical space is where we have the Abibitumi Conference, where we have the Abibifahodie Festival, and it is a blacktastic place to be. It is a place where the 12,000 plus members of Abibitumi have the opportunity to converge in an all-Black place without any crackification. And, again, this is just a Black amazing idea to concept. So, again, we were dealing with Abibitumi vision to reality. We've dealt with Abibitumi demonstration over conversation. This year is the construction of Black civilization. And our first year was from digital idea to physical institution. So every theme, you see it building on what it is that we're actually doing on the ground. This isn't a talk shop. This is people who are actually doing the work of construction of Black civilization. And not just those who are in architecture, not just those who are doing physical building construction, although it does include those as well. But you have people who are in agriculture, you have people who are in media, who are in film, who are in radio, who are in, scholars. You have every single walk of life converging here at Abibitumi headquarters in Ekwapia Mampong. And again, this is about institution building. And the institution isn't always a physical infrastructure, although it is good to have physical infrastructure, because otherwise I would be sitting under a palm tree in the dark trying to do this broadcast, and that would not lend itself to what it is that we're doing. So the institution is also the relationships that exist between the Black people who build those institutions. But then we also have the physical institution, which is where we are right here. And again, we have so many guests for this evening. We have Ajakwa Joe, who is behind the scenes making it all happen. We have my mother, Nana Efia and Sia Santiwa. We have so many who have been, with us throughout the years, and we are just going to have them come on. They're going to, introduce themselves, give their reflections on the Abibitumi Conference, Abibifahodie Film Festival. And we encourage people to register at abibitumi.com. For those who do not know, we have revamped abibitumi.com. We heard people say, oh, I don't understand, what am I supposed to do? I don't, what's the navigation? What's going on here? And, we heard those voices, and we actually went to the forefront of UI, that's user interface, UX, user experience, and we've streamlined everything that anyone who comes to the site will see exactly what to do. It's a beautiful site, very simplified, very, clear, very easy to understand. So this is just a blacktastic site. And then we've also relaunched our app. Some people, initially when we first launched the app, we were using a different technology. You'll click it, you gotta wait a while. This one is so responsive that it's even responding before it's anticipating that you even want to click. So, we've revamped the website from the ground up, revamped the app from the ground up, and it is a blacktastic time. Myself and Ajakwa Joe are doing coding battles. Like, hey, you code and I code. All right, hand it over. Hand it over. It's looking like, the 4x100. So I'll be Usain Bolt. We're gonna have Ejeko Joe be Asafa Powell, but we're just doing it with the brand new site, with the brand new app. All of these things that are launching throughout the year. We've redesigned abibitumitv.com, so everything looks different. So anyone who's like, oh, I've seen that site, you haven't seen the site because the site is brand new across the board. So again, that's what institution building is all about. And again, we encourage viewers to register at abibitumi.com or download the apps, abibitumi.com, from the App Store, from the Play Store. Also, we have a QR code. We're going to throw that up there. So the QR code is going to be for anybody who wants to make a contribution to the Black Powerful work that we're doing here at Abibitumi. And there it goes right there on the corner, 20th anniversary. So anybody who wants to make a contribution, they can just do a quick scan of that, and then they are going to be building by putting their money where their freedom is, putting their money where their liberation is, and that is what it is all about. So before we go any deeper into the program, I want us to move forward with a brief libation. So if I may have permission from my elders to do so. Madam Watson. Ago. Otumfo radi yonko bonchiro ponkwa nchiro nsino maunsiu. Asasi ya mpone na mwa asasi ya odi mo so madwene de me fedwie. Aboso nyaso modo ositi yintimi momuni baako na so yefe baako de yefe mini na broko daw na ndam ti ajiman asidube so bo afo so ajifo. Munyina afreti fi ofo apia to munyina mamra mona mandimo sui. Na ne den ene se ene ye memerda enyumre yesremon kwa no kwa hosan yesremon ni ne nyansa yesremon koso ne konim yesremon punti na adom e bibia be adapa ba adom be nhyira be nkoso yesremon bibia a eho hia sanse ye ne ye pre ho de ma Abibitumi na Abibifahodie nti yesufre na Abibifahodie na Abibifahodie wonsunie sanse se ne wo bo bra se ne wo osbampa eno anti na ye yi apaya na ye bo ye bo din e wo bibia ye bia no enti boayen tinachi ejigina pa bie kwan ma yen se da ba ya ye bedru empempenso ba bia ye pese ye bedru we na esrem modavroma ye na no samafo senefo samafo gonofo samafo sonofo samafo sechirifo samafo oyokofo samafo ekonofo samafo bretufo samafo ekonofo samafo munyina amamra munyina monsunie mumra menom na afide otamfo bia aka no kono Abibifahodie jade Abibitumi ajijade Abibifahodie ajijade boni brakra amanye yi onhwa support on enkofa na de pade domum we na asrem modavroma afide nipa bonefo bia nanno bu bebi se obi ntonsa enhyire na busiafo enti nipa bonefo bia oja nhye na asefo na ase na nka ba ko na asrem modavroma mohyire na ya chahai mohyire amia pai modavroma mohyire na kose ewie Blacktastic. So anybody who is on the line with us right now, I'm seeing the comments that are rolling through. And, we have our producers who at the appropriate time are going to be putting those on the screen. But I want to invite everybody, if you're in the room right now, I am deputizing you as Nana Harriet Tubman. I'm giving you a Nana Harriet Tubman badge, and that is to help bring people off the cracker site and come into the blacker site just for this event. So I know some of y'all got friends who are, scrolling, doom scrolling, and so forth and so on. Tell them, no, this is too important an event. You need to come here, come to abibitumi.com and join us for the 20th anniversary series. As you see, we are making it happen. And again, I am Obinfo Abadele Kamban coming at you live. So again, this is our traditional opening invocation. We always want to bring the grandcessors into the space. I call my own father, Nana Abibifahodie, is what I call him, which is the ancestor of Black liberation, Nana Kamal Rashidi Kamban. And, this is a time for, reflection on legacy of continuing the work of our parents, of our grandparents, our great-grandparents on both sides of my family. We had those who were building community, building institutions, whether that was Method Community in North Carolina, whether that was the UNIA in New York, that, this is a continuation of that groundbreaking work. And we are very Black-sided to be here. Again, share the link for anyone who may not know that this is going on, somebody who, was about to go out on a date on the subway, say, hold on, I want you to join us for these 4 days of celebrating Black Power, 20 years of Black Power. And as we're here, we also are going to take time to think about continuity, the continuation of the legacy from the ancestors, and then what we call Nsinga Dikanda, which is the chain of the community, which is unbroken, which is the family tree is not cut down. So this is, again, a time for us to think about 20 years. And as was mentioned in the first day, there are a lot of, websites that have come and gone in this, 20 years. There are a lot of, organizations that have come and gone. Some people have gotten divorced before this 20 years has been done. But what I said on the first night is that, just from sheer willpower and the support of Black people who are serious about Black liberation, we've made this, continue and last. And we are looking at going from 20 years to 20,000 years into the future, where we're still talking about Black liberation, but not just talking about it. We're conceiving it, that's Sia. We're speaking about it, that's Who. And then Heka is bringing it into being, bringing it into reality. And that's what we're doing right here at Abibitumi headquarters. So, just by way of introduction to the evening, Abibitumi.com has been a very important institution. People have learned languages. People have learned about their history. We have courses on spirituality. And one thing that I even wanted to do is do like a wall of fame. All of the people who have presented on Abibitumi, both, through courses, classes, at the conferences. My father, to start off with, Nana Abibifahodie, my father, Nana Kamal Kamban, has taught a series of courses, classes, and workshops. My mother, Nana Mawia Rahema Kamban, also Okunini by Dr. Mawia Kamban, also known as Nana Efiansia Santiwa, has taught numerous courses, classes, and workshops through Abibitumi. We've had, those who have transitioned to become grandsisters, such as Baba Ranoko Rashidi has taught classes. We've had, everyone from Baba Anthony Browder has presented at the conference. Obinfua Baina Bello has presented. We've had, interviews with PLO Lumumba, interviews with Ambassador Chiombori Kwao. We've had, just so many, speakers and thinkers and leaders across all walks of life over the course of this last, 20 years. Seba Bonochi Montgomery has taught Medu Necha going back to, I want to say, around 2008. Just so many have, made all of this work. Me, myself, I've taught Chi, Yoruba, Wolof, Medu Necha, and many, many others. When I looked, there's a proverb in Chi that where they say, and it translates to, it's only when the frog dies that you see how long it truly is. And I just look back, by way of retrospective, and I have over 200 presentations in the, Abibitumi shop. So, just an archive for myself, and really an archive for all of us as Black people for resources. When you look at, those who give presentations, give lectures, oftentimes there are no slides. But in each of these cases, I've not only recorded it, I also make my slides available. This is, I'm like, I'm bringing the receipts. And if you want that presentation, you can actually download the PowerPoint. You can go and do further research on your own. I don't know of any scholar actually in history who, does something along those lines. But, this is what has made Abibitumi so important, by way of scholarship. Also in terms of building connections with each other. We have those that were in Yoruba class together who ended up getting married, right? We've had people who, have connected, who have built lifelong friendships. Right now, we have those who have just, purchased the, all come together to purchase 3 acres right in front of Abibitumi headquarters. And we're actually building a physical community there. 7 families, and then with the Kanbans, it makes 8. That's why we also call it Humnu, the place of the 8. And from the soil to the sky, we building in 8s. So, there are a lot of things going on. We have a 22-acre, tract of land, of which we're doing 2 acres as Moringa to start, building that out to around 10 or 11 acres. So there are all types of things that are happening, but you only really know what's happening when you stay close. There's a proverb in Chi that says, and it translates to it's when the chick stays close to the hen that it eats the thigh of the grasshopper. I'll give you a second to think about that. But when you stay close, you get benefits, right? So when you stay close to Abibitumi, this isn't grasshopper thighs. This is, actually getting all the benefits that come that you only know about once you stay close to Abibitumi. This isn't complaining that you got put in a cracker website's jail. This isn't complaining that they're not treating us right. This isn't complaining that, oh, I'm wearing the same clothes as cracker. Why are they mistreating me? This is no. All those addictions that you have for being mistreated, that codependency relationship, we're not doing any of that here. This is a Black space where we're building Black power in the spirit of Black liberation. So again, we have the upcoming conference. That's going to be December 12th and 13th. That's the Abibitumi conference and Abibifahodie festival, and those are happening. But even prior to that, we have the Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival. Yeah, let's look at this real quick. Now you can bring that back. There we go. I got my producers on point, like bam, they on, drop it. So this is a flyer, Abibitumi Conference and Abibifahodie Festival. This is a scene that you see on the right-hand side. You see the acrobats upside down, and then, the crowd there. As we were chanting Black Power, it was a Black powerful experience. And again, our theme is Construction of Black Civilization, December 12th through 13th, 2026. And that's happening here at Abibitumi headquarters, right here in Ekwepe Mampong. It's going to be Black Standing for anybody who is interested in joining us. And if you're not interested in joining us, then what is wrong with you? Nothing. That's why you're going to be right there, front and center, in the place to be. We have the film festival, which is happening October 16th through the 18th. And that is on the theme of Kemet for the Kemetiu, a 3-day hybrid event, again, from October 16th to the 18th, 2026. And it's going to have awards like we had last time, Lifetime Achievement Awards. We have those. We are looking to honor Nana Kwawansa, world-renowned filmmaker based here in Ghana. And, those who are submitting films, we're going to make sure that, those films are able to be seen by the wide audience. Again, thousands of people who are connecting right through Abibitumi. Cash prizes, global exposure. You can submit now on Film Freeway, and that's filmfreeway.com/Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival. And you see all the dates there. And we're looking at feature films. We're seeking feature films, documentaries, short films, student films, original songs and music videos. That's a new category. AI and animation, that's a new category. So the call for submissions is open. Again, filmfreeway.com/Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival. Right on time. You check it out right there at the bottom. And it's going to be Black Siding. We're even looking at, last year we did it at Ozone Cinema. This year we're looking at having multiple venues potentially, but we're in talks with the National Theater. So just a lot of Black Siding things that are going to be happening. Again, if you are on listening to this broadcast right now, I want you to send it to everybody who comes to your family reunion. I want you to send it to all of your coworkers who are Black. We want you to send it to, anybody who has a bit of sense in their head that they can actually appreciate all that is going on. I'm seeing the numbers going up live. I'm seeing, people commenting in the chat. So definitely share the good news with anybody who, would actually appreciate Black power and Black liberation. And again, this is a hybrid international vision. Every time we do the Abibitumi conference, every time we do the Abibifahodie Film Festival, all of these things are hybrid events. This means that you can be here on the ground and interact with those, who are outside and vice versa. So that makes it, even more exciting as we're dealing with this. And, with this hybrid vision, it means that we can reach so many more people, Black people exclusively, through the channels that we have, carved out. So we, again, have the QR code. So the donations are there. That's going to pop up right here. Check it out. Right on cue, right on point. So definitely it's going to be Black Standing. So again, go ahead and make those donations to contribute to the work. Again, what we say, put your money where your liberation is. Put your money where your liberation is, not where your mouth is, not where your foot is, not where your toe is, not where your ear is. Put your money where what? Your liberation is. This is demonstration over conversation. This is how we build the construction of Black civilization. And I mentioned the other day, as we were looking at that title, one, that was already the title of the book, but when we were in Burkina Faso, you know, a lot of people talk about, oh, we're underdeveloped, we're trying to develop. I always ask the question, develop from what into what? What are you supposed to be developing into? But one thing that President Ibrahim Traoré said in the speech that I attended, he said that Burkina Faso is under construction. I said, yeah. We're on the same wavelength because the book, The Construction of Black Civilization, and by the way, we're going to launch that tomorrow. We've already gotten at least a couple of dozen pre-sales, and every couple of seconds, I'm seeing that somebody else purchased it. So we're also going to make that available, the link to that available. That's abibitumi.com/construction. So if you want to get your copy ahead of time, it's at the printers, and the print run is happening right now as we speak. So again, be sure to check that out, abibitumi.com/construction. And it's going to be a Black siding read. As I've mentioned several times, this book is over 600 pages. This represents over 10 years of work, and the majority of it is primary sources. And tomorrow we have our host, Amake Abibifahodie. I first met her a good about 10 years ago, where I was the first guest, I believe it was, on the New Day TV show. This is a sister who's been in all kind of Hollywood films and films right here, you know, based here in Ghana. So, you know, Blacktastic sister, and she is going to, you know, walk us through that. So again, that's tomorrow's event briefly. But, you know, before I go any further, a lot of what I'm doing, matter of fact, all of what I'm doing, I would not be doing it if it was not for one very spectacular Ohima, Queen of the World, and that is Nana Efia Msia Santiwa Mama Mawia Kanban. So with no further ado, if our producers are ready, I would like to bring her on screen. Nanu. Blacktastic to see you.
Majo Maha. Greetings all. Yes, as he said, I wear many names, but just one hat, the hat of liberation, Abibifahodie, and of course of healing. So yes, I am Nana Akomfo Nana Efiantia Santawa. My community calls me Mama Mawia, and also Okahininiba Mawia Kanban. We use that instead of doctor. And my whole goal in life is to be about restoration of Ma'a through our healing that is necessary. So I was asked to come on to give a little bit of history because, as Obenfo said, it was not by sheer coincidence that he came to Ghana. So I would like to tell you a little bit about my journey getting to Ghana. And it began, obviously, before I got here when I accepted that assignment back in Samando. But my awareness began to grow. I was raised by my maternal grandparents in Stamford, Connecticut. They are originally from North Carolina, where I am now. I was born in New York City with my parents, but my grandparents, given my mother's work schedule and all, she was a jazz singer, did not think that it was sufficient to raise me in that environment. So they took me to Connecticut, where they had moved to. And so through the years, we didn't talk much about Black Power, but I got to witness it, particularly through my grandparents, who were entrepreneurs. My grandmother had her own daycare center with 30 children that was housed in our home. And I had duties and responsibilities there, not paid, of course, because she paid me by feeding me. And that developed my interest in childcare. But when I got ready to go off to college, I decided to go into accounting because a chair of the business school in my high school said that's where the money is. And of course, young, less than smart children aren't necessarily focused in the right direction. But it was my grandmother who said I should work with children. And eventually, you know, by the time I graduated from my doctoral program, I was a child psychologist. Still in the area of healing, but not necessarily to the extent that I understand now or could be understood. The understanding that what we need as Black people is not necessarily, well, is not tied to those academies. So that was a grounding for a profession, but not for a life's work. And so through those last years in graduate school, I became acquainted first with the Black Students Psychological Association, which was then a part of APA, and I mistakenly thought it was ABPSI. But then I started visiting the Association of Black Psychologists and was floored, if you will, or wide opened to all the knowledge our people had in this field that had nothing to do with the academic trainings that we had received. And those were people like Nana Bobby Wright, like Nana Asa Hilliard, Nana Wade Nobles, Nana Kobe Kamban, Naeem Akbar, sisters like Nzinga Warfield Coppock, Frances Cress Welsing, even though she wasn't a psychologist, she's a psychiatrist, we were still open to her works. And, you know, when I first met my husband, he wondered why I was in this field because all he knew was their psychology. But he started going to the conferences with me. And he then realized that maybe his wife had something on this. And so that was a beginning of the development, if you will. I'm coming from to an understanding of who I am as and commit to you in this world. Not strong yet, but it was there. And so those were the late 60s. So we had protests on our campus. I didn't have the advantage of going to a historically Black college, but then more of the revolutionary action was happening on the other campuses where I was, protests and all, which, you know, I was loosely associated with. But when I got ready to go to graduate school, we had our Black Studies and Black House and places on campus. And we did many things to rid the campuses of the racist sororities and fraternities that were there that did not allow Black people in, about curriculums that did not have us included, about professors. I went to the University of Connecticut, which was a state school, and we had no Black professors, let alone the population of Blacks. In my freshman class, there were only 15 of us. The school was 10,000 strong. Of course, they had other campuses that had more Blacks in it. But can you get to understand that I am coming out of a very limited educational background according to what they had to offer. Yet, as I said, I was raised by my maternal grandparents who my grandmother always knew who she was. So she had no problems in Stanford developing the first and largest daycare center where I mentioned that I worked and began to develop a love for children. So that love for children, and also I have to tell you, Friday born. So I'm a traveler. And so she always looked at me as, okay, what next? And so what next happened after I graduated and moved to New York. I stayed with my mother for a while and accepted positions and got more connected then with the Association of Black Psychologists. And there was a trip to Ghana. This trip was put on by Nana Yao Pari Denizulu, all thanks to him and to the Demwaze shrine there in Queens. In 1972, he was offering a chartered trip to Ghana because he was taking his new initiates to go into training with Nana Aparabia. And I knew nothing about the culture in that sense, nothing about the spirituality, etc. But he was going to Africa, and I bought a ticket. Again, here's this traveler, this wanderer, moving forward without even clarity about where I was staying. But I bought that ticket. At that time was $299 round trip on a chartered plane for 6 weeks to Ghana. I cannot tell you, or you can imagine, how that began to help me explode into my Africanity, my Kemetuanity, or how I might say that, to open my eyes to the beauty we are. And so it started when I came off the plane and saw all of these akomfo, that's the real term for priests, dressed in white on the ground. At that time, you had to walk down the steps of the airplane, which only changed about the last 10 years. But the airport itself was very different. And I was stunned, mesmerized, and taken because I found out later that it was then, around then, that I began to meet my own personal Obosun, Nana Osujbi. Still, as a young person, I just traveled with other young people that we met there in Ghana who took us everywhere. We went to Togo, Benin, Sierra Leone, and obviously all over Ghana, all the way up to Burkina Faso, to Bogotanga, places like that. I didn't get into Burkina Faso, but we went that far. It not only began to set the stage, but that was the year I also went into graduate school in my master's program and met my husband. And that was the time when I realized how powerful my people had been, how powerful my people were, and how I was going to connect this with my own movement forward. So that is the beginning of my understanding of how I came into this work, or how I began to be initiated into this work. And I don't mean formally, but just an understanding of this. It was at that time when I was at Columbia, I met my husband, Baba Kamal Rashidi Kambon, Nana Abibifahodie. He had been working at Columbia and was deeply involved in some struggles. Many of you may have read of some instances that went on there that began to shape him even more. Black students, he was with the basketball group as a coach and saw how Black students were not given opportunities for housing and food like other students were. So that began to be a mission of his, and he took under his wing the many Black students there and began to find ways to demonstrate for him. Of course, that put him in conflict with the administration. And it was then that he decided he had to make a decision about whether he would stay or go. We had already met at that time and had begun to do cultural activities together. We spent a lot of time. He was from Brooklyn. I was living in the city. And we spent a lot of time primarily in Harlem, but also in Brooklyn at cultural activities about food, health, culture, whatever related to us as people. It was that time together that I came to realize, and I guess him too, that this was a match made in Kemet. That we understood that we were on the same path, trying to do the same things, and there was not much discord between us. He wasn't much of a talker, so even though I tell couples today you need to have conversations before you decide to move forward into a union together, a complementary union together, he kind of just asked me one day, why don't we just get married? And we did. And so we came to my grandmother, who was then in North Carolina, and her sister had a farm, and we decided to get married there with our own priest from, where was he from? He was an African priest, so we got married in African tradition, African clothing. And I had already had a daughter at that time, so he adopted her into our lives together. She was already very staunchly, obviously, in my life. And we began to move together. We would have two other children, Nataki and obviously Obenfo, and begin to plan out our existence. And our plan, many of you have known, was to really build there in Brooklyn and then move to Barbados, where he had family. His family is from Barbados and Nevis, St. Kitts, and then move to the continent. And we had decided, because of my experiences, and he had also traveled there by now with me, we would move to Ghana. Needless to say, much of that has transpired. We did not get to Barbados to live, although we did visit. We did love the activity going on in the city, but realized, particularly after Obenfo was born, that we did not want to raise our children in that kind of environment. We needed a much more fertile environment. I mean, there was plenty of fertility there in terms of culture, but there was no way to sustain yourself in a concrete jungle. So we decided to move forward to North Carolina, where my grandparents had moved back to, and build. And we built our own house. And this cabin that I'm sitting in was our first part of the project. This was the home where, after staying in the shack, the five of us, while we built this, my husband and I, we moved into this dwelling. And the five of us stayed here until we completed the extension, which has more room and more bedrooms, etc., things like that. But that was a kind of energy and force that we came together. And the challenges we had were big and small. One, the small ones, our family didn't understand totally what we were doing. We had changed our names, and they thought his cousin called it that we were having like a christening name, and that they really didn't have to call us those names. But that wasn't true. The only ones we allowed to call us our born names were the elders who couldn't quite get the pronunciations right. But no others did we allow to call us by those names. Our children were given traditional names and traditional rights into this world, and we moved from there. We changed my daughter's name to a traditional name, Ayana, and she moved on to become a physician for babies. She's a pediatrician now. So she didn't follow us completely on our journey, but we are grateful that the ancestors saw fit to allow her to fulfill her dreams, her destiny, in the way that she was sent here to do. We must realize that we don't control anybody's destiny. We're here as guides. Parents are here as guides to help, yet they have been given a mandate before they got here, and we must give them license to move forward in that way. So that small challenges was her moving forward, because that was saddening, into a different way. Another challenge was moving to the South, which was quite an adventure for my husband, who had traveled around the country to many different places, but had not lived really in the South. And so he wasn't used to the familiarity people have here, where they speak to you even though they don't know you, and people look in your cars to see who you are, so they can wave at you. People from New York are very cautious, especially men, and so he was always on guard to protect us, even though there were times when we didn't need that. But we moved forward. We built this place. We raised our children. You've heard some of the stories about that. And let's see, what else happened on that journey? Baba Kamal was, again, the life force for us. The one who would take and make sacrifice, although he called it sacred wisdom, to ensure that his family was warm, was cared for, and was protected. This truly was one of the greatest people I have known in life, and certainly the greatest person that I was given to be wed to, the father of our children. So our journey together was long, too short for me, but I have to accept what the will of the ancestors are. How this has led to Abibitumi is that the teachings that Baba Kamal shared, the teachings that I shared, the trips that we made, helped Abenfo understand the mission that we were on, which was Black liberation, the Abibifahodie. And he has stuck to that mission, even though at times when he was younger, we didn't know if he would do so. Yet, I've heard him talk through these couple of days, he had an understanding that this truly was the work he was supposed to do. And our ancestors, because we did divinations, told us that he would be fine. He had been given many spiritual baths by different shrines. Every time we visited a different one, they wanted him protected for the journey that would be ahead. And that journey has led us to Abibitumi and the Abibitumi conference. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful that he stayed on the path. We are not, as I said, we are guides, but we don't guarantee that the mission they sent, because they didn't tell us, is exactly what will happen. And all we wanted for him and for all of our children was to have a good life where they were free from oppression, they were free from bullying, they were free to develop as they saw fit. And sometimes that becomes a challenge, that you may see it one way, they may see it a different way. And you will talk out through those challenges, but ultimately they must make their own decision. And Abibitumi was not one where there was a challenge. I saw him on Asada Shakur talking, and it was clearly understood that he would have to go bigger and move forward. We have been as a family behind him all the way and will continue to be. And I am so grateful that we have this opportunity to share with you a lot of those things that went on at that time. And so there were many institutions building, as we said, Blacknificent Books, which now he has used as a publishing company for his new outcoming book, and Baynew Center, which I have now turned our home into a cultural center, event center for people to rent out and to live the legacy. Some people came to see the place yesterday. They want to have a mini festival here, and they want to be here, they said, because of the legacy, because of the spirit that is in this place, this dwelling that Baba Kamal and I put together, Nana Abibifahodie. So that leads us now to the next part. This is a part that documents some of the journey of Nana Abibifahodie, Baba Kamal Rashidi Kambon.
Kamal Kambon. There's a priestess from Ghana that gave me a name, Kwesi Ajaman. And Kwesi Ajaman translates to Savior of the Nation. So as Kamal Kwesi Ajaman Kambon, I greet you with the words Black Liberation, Abibifahodie. Abibifahodie is from Ghana, a Tree word, which translates to Black Liberation. And Black Liberation is our African gold standard. That's GOALGOLD. So I greet you with Black Liberation. In response to this Black Liberation greeting, some have come to me and said that money is liberation. Some have come and said that education is liberation. Some have said that marching is liberation. Some have said that voting is liberation. Others have said African spirituality is liberation. And I say that money is money, marching is marching, education is education, voting is voting, African spirituality is African spirituality, and only Black liberation is Black liberation. When anyone comes to me with any idea, the first thing I want to know is, what is the definition? And today I'm going to give you the definition of Black liberation. For Black African people, Black liberation is the great, grand, gargantuan, royal, imperial, majestic, monumental, overarching, biggest idea / concept that leads to the effective and successful implementation of the once and for all solution to the biggest problem on planet Earth. That is the definition of Black liberation. I didn't start with this understanding. Over the years, I developed, I evolved. So I grew up in an area called Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn, New York. And where I grew up, as I'm talking about it, I had a great childhood. We created our own games, and I grew up on a block that had 28 Black males. I was probably one of the youngest. And we played stickball, skelly, we flipped baseball cards, we played crack top, we played box ball, cocoa ring alluvial. There was doo-wop playing in the summertime at night. Never a fight on our block, never a fight on our block, no gangs. I never heard the N-word. Never heard the N-word.
So Nana,
So that's a segment from Quiet Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to thank you for sharing. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just going to say that was him expressing the early part of his childhood, his life, that help you understand the peace and insulation he had around his own people. Not that there weren't challenges. There were certainly plenty of those, but to be insulated around Black people who are doing Black things is tremendous.
Absolutely. And in terms of legacy, you know, while you're there in the United States, another thing that we wanted to do is record you. We didn't have any idea that we would do those, at least me. Ajekwa Joe decided, you know what, there's a brother who's a professional filmmaker, and he decided, you know, let me interview Baba Kamal. At that time, there was never idea that, oh, let's make a documentary. But it was very fortunate that we had such high quality video of Baba Kamal, you know, sharing his life. And that's really, you know, part of the legacy. You know, when one transitions, the part of them that will live on longer than any other part, you know, would be their names, right? And we also wanted to do interviews of you while you're there in the United States. So I said, as soon as we're done with this 4 days, this conference, we are going to have Nana share her life story as well. And that will be very Blacktastic. And, you know, also a way for us to give you your flowers while you're here, right? Mm-hmm. So in terms of institutional memory, one thing that I mentioned, I believe it was yesterday, was that the work that we're doing now is a continuation of your grandfather's work, Nana Bill Dunstan. My great grandfather's work, that's Baba Kamal's grandfather, Nana Frederick. Sorry, Farrar Levi Lord. Just all of our family members who have done, blacktastic work. Nana, uh, Billy Dunstan, your grandmother, my great grandmother, but all of the work that has been done has made their lives worthy of libation, has made their names worthy of being called. And this is really part of the legacy. So the work that you all were also continuing, I know Baba Kamal would often talk about the work that he did with community building at Restoration. Also, the work of the East. He would always say that the Benu Cultural Center and Blacknificent Books was a continuation of the work that was happening at the East and the work that we're doing here on the ground with the Abibitumi Conference, Abibifahodie Festival, the Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival, that all of those are an extension of Blacknificent Benu Cultural Center. And it was very important for me personally. The book that is launching tomorrow is being published by Blacknificent Books, right? In collaboration with, or cooperation. Baba Kamal didn't like collaboration because they talk about the collaborators, right? But in cooperation with African World Books, and that's Brother Nati. And what made me look at him as a publisher is I remember with the bookstore, Baba Kamal said that is a straight up brother. He's always on the up and up, always honest and so forth. So I said, out of anyone, and there are lots of publishers, very well known publishers, but just, the way Baba Kamal would speak about Baba Nati, I said, well, that's who I need to, co-publish with. And we need it to
Also,
be.
because he was like family. We could go up there anytime. We could take books for the bookstore on credit because he knew the honesty in Baba Kamal that he would get paid. And so, he became and is still family, although I haven't seen him. I'm going to Baltimore. I have to make sure I stop in July. So you're right. The things that occurred at Blacknificent Books, and I am so proud that you chose to use that as your publishing company. The things that happened at Baynou, we feel contributed a lot to the lives of so many people, being exposed to the culture in ways that they had not seen before in that area. They certainly, people knew they were Black and had fought the struggles of segregation and integration, but they knew nothing about the continent. They knew nothing about the authors of the books that we were selling. And so the Baynou Center was created to make sure that we could bring all those luminaries in and that people could hear those words on print live.
Absolutely. And, I was mentioning all of those, including, you, Baba Kamal, who have been through Abibitumi. And, many of them are the same people, right? I know Baba Anthony Browder, spoke, I was just looking at, pictures of the lectures that he gave
The
there,
Wade Nobles.
Wade Nobles, just, yeah. I tell people that, anyone you can imagine, just name anybody they came through. I remember when Baba Kwame Ture stayed at our house, and I remember him sitting on that, chair right there in the living room. Nana Khalid Muhammad, anytime he would come, he would stay at the house.
Well, he would come purposely to stay. I can
Yeah.
tell you incidents where he walked from the bus stop to the bookstore, and we said to him, "You must not know who you are. You can't walk him through the streets that way," just because he wanted to come visit. We had become his parents in a way.
Right, right. And so it's very beautiful when we look at the idea of legacy, and the legacy. Sometimes when you say legacy, it makes it seem like something that's come to an end, but this is really the continuity. This is the snake with its own tail in its mouth. This is the continuation of the work of our ancestors, going back from classical times, thousands of years, and going to our descendants, thousands of years. And it makes me think of a quote by Nana Amilcar Cabral, where he says, "We must act and only act as though we answer to our ancestors, our children, and those yet unborn. And, that's the work that we do. There are some people who don't like the work. There are some people envious of the work. Some people who want to be, I don't know what they want to be. But, we move forward because we know that the work that we're doing is to become grandsesters and to help others do the same.
And
So,
I like it when I hear you moving in that direction. When I first heard you say that, it really did crystallize for me that indeed, I'm in this work, this spirit work, this, and also, I guess I was the one that introduced you to becoming African spirituality, on becoming ancestors. Understanding that even he may not have quite gotten it the way you did, and that to come to this place where the work we're doing is not just for those here, but it's for those to become. And working with the Dekenga helps to crystallize that, helping people to understand our life cycle, helps us get back into an understanding of the importance of our ancestor world being as important as our life here on the earth, if not more.
As you were saying that, it made me think, usually when I've mentioned that we're helping others become grandsesters, I think about that in terms of those who are here now, but it's also to help our descendants to become grandsesters. So the things that we build now, the things that we build around, are to facilitate that process, not just for those around us, but also those around us, right? Those descendants who are yet to be born. And I remember one of the Kamba and Kantanka conversations that I would do with Baba Kamal, of course, in the Kantanka as we were driving, that, we talked about this concept of destiny. And, do we really have a destiny? If we have a destiny, how could people be, shot down in the projects, end up on crack? My father, he would always, I say my father, he would always talk about, all the beautiful people who, transitioned because they ended up on heroin, just beautiful, beautiful people, but there were so many traps that were set around them, right? And, what my response was that, if we look at destiny, there's an individual destiny, there's also a concept of a collective destiny. And, he would always say that crackers say that as long as I am, you can never be, right? Because they're always doing whatever they can to prevent us from being, right, who we are. It's like someone who is able to achieve their utmost potential is someone like Imahu Imhotep, in terms of, medicine, in terms of architecture, in terms of mathematics, and so forth and so context. And that's why I say it's about us creating a context where our descendants can really, live to their utmost potential. But I'm reminded of a quote, I believe it is Nana Walter Rodney, where he says, "For the only great men are in a context of oppression, the only great men are those who fight for liberation." Right? Means that everybody's destiny is narrowed down. From who wants to be the first physician, this one wants to be the first architect to build in stone. That you could have very disparate destinies when you're in your own context, but when you're under oppression, everybody's destiny becomes one destiny. And that's what Baba Kamal would talk about, the once and for all solution to the number one problem on the planet Earth. So all the other things that we thought we were doing, yeah, everybody has their skills, their gifts, their talents, but all of those things need to be channeled laser focused towards what the collective destiny is, which is, to fight for Black liberation. So, as I think about that, I think about, what we've built here, in Ghana, the community that's being built right in front of Abibitumi headquarters, where you are, right now, that all of what we build is so that we can fulfill our destiny, which is, if you look at the time of the Hakao Hasut, the Hyksos and classical Kemet, that they've brought death and destruction, murder and mayhem, rape and ravishing, pillage and plunder to the land of Black people. So everybody's destiny becomes get these crackers out of the land of Black people, right?
If they understood that.
If they understood that. And this is the thing, is that when you have a ruler like Sarah Kamos, he's able to impose his will on those who didn't understand that, either those who are too complacent to understand that, or those who are just dead set fighting on behalf of these Neanderthals, right? Well, he knows how to deal with those types of people too. So, when we talk about Black power, it's essentially building the power in every single area of human activity so that there is no option other than for us to fulfill our destiny, that we don't just let it go, or, well, you can do what you want to do. No, no, no. This is the work, and this is what we're working towards.
Recently on Abibitumi, I did a 3-part workshop on divination. And I talked about worldview, and I also talked about self-care. Before you need to seek divination, and I don't want to say outside yourself because it's still a part of who you are. There's work we must do personally. And part of that work is that we don't exist day to day without understanding that those names you call, say must be called. Because we didn't get here because all of us were complacent. We got here to the place where it's now our turn to re-inherit the earth because some of us never stopped the work. Some of us never stopped teaching about the work. Some of us did the work. And among those is Baba Kamal, Rashidi Kambon, and Abibifahodie. Once you set your life's path in that way, then the Nananomen Samamfo, the Obosun, Orisha, by whichever name you call those entities, will come to service you. And what I mean by that, us, in our collective destiny to be liberated, because that is the true destiny of us. We cannot continue to exist suppressed and oppressed. That was not the destiny of Kemetiu people. That is not the life, even though we understand the 2,000-year cycle, and that cycles do go round. Theirs is ending, and ours is returning. And the question we must ask ourselves is, am I prepared? Because if I'm not prepared, then we cannot be prepared. And if we cannot be prepared, if we are not prepared, then it's not going to happen automatically. We live in this world with them. They are in us, they are around us, and they are asking that we plead to them for what it is that is needed. Some say, oh, they are able to see beyond. Yes, but they can see more than one path for us, depending on how we choose to live out the destiny that we were given before we came here. And so I think that's very important that we understand that we are part of this work, every one of us. And we have enemies even amongst us that are within us, that are fighting to come out and overcome us as individuals and as a collective. And we must raise ourselves to a higher place to be prepared to deal with that injustice.
Absolutely. So I think on that note, I would like to thank you, Nana Medasi. Thank you for giving me life. And also thank you for giving me life. And that's the essence of life. Nana Medasi pa. So on that note, I think I will introduce another very, very important lady, and that is my wife, Mama Kala Kamban. If she is ready to come on, then maybe we'll just share a little bit of the woman who has that Black energy. Merely one dog. Have you ever seen such a beautiful, blacknificent, blacktastic, spectacular lady as this lovely lady that we see on the screen right now? The one who puts together the Abibitumi exclusive seminars, the one who does the slow down and fast, the one who does all of the work behind the scenes to allow me to do some of the work in front of the scenes. So, Mama Kala, akabo.
Yeah, Odo. Medasi. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm glad to see everybody here tonight for what has been extraordinary 20 years of so many things that have happened. So Medasi.
Fantastic. So let's talk just briefly about, the work that we've done together on Abibitumi. I remember you were one of the very first elected members of the month. You were there as I was putting the site together, coming off of asadashakur.org, which I actually used the homepage of asadashakur.org. I looked at the code in order to make the very first iteration of abibitumikasa.com, the landing page. So a lot, going way, 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 way back, So just give me a little bit of your reflections about, the work that we've done together. And yeah, just your experience handing out flyers at the African Festival there in Chicago, being the model for the flyers, you looking at the Grandcestors. There's so many different roles. Let me turn it over to you for your thoughts.
Wow. It's so many things have happened. I didn't even remember the flyers. I remember, but now that you say that, I do remember it. I remember we were at the beach in Chicago and you took that picture and you used it for flyers for initial for Abibitumi Casa when you were doing the languages and doing it online. I remember at that time we were living in an apartment in the hood of South Chicago. And I remember, we just got off of being on Asada Shakur, and I remember you saying you wanted to start this site. And I watched you doing the coding. I was sitting there. I remember seeing you trying to put together the site and everything. So it was who I wouldn't have imagined from that time to this time, going from, being in a little rinky-dink apartment in Chicago to now we have a physical institution here in Ghana and Mampong. Did not have that, did not imagine it would get to this point. But I'm glad, obviously glad that it is where it has come to and where it's going. And I'm just, there's a lot that can be said. But those early days were, those early days were good. I remember there was a core group of people on there at the time who, were very active. That we had a set up, the forums. We had a forum set up with different categories that were broken down by Baba Kamal's Combine Dime categories. So things would just get posted, articles, all kinds of information, and people were very active and talking on there. And, like you mentioned, we had members of the month, but at that time there was no point system like we have now. People were voting for each other. And I remember, in addition to being one of the members of the month, voted as one of the members of the month, I had the highest rank for referrals to Abibitumi for like 3 years. I was like the top 3 people. I think it was me, Baba Kidi, Obiowadu, and somebody else who had the top rankings for bringing the most people to Abibitumi as members. So the early times on the Abibitumi Casa at the time was a beautiful start. And I know at that time it was very focused on language. A lot of people were wanting to know Wolof, specifically Wolof in Europe. That's where all interactive discussions were, and a lot of the interactive, simulcasted discussions and classes were around that. So, that. I don't know. There's a lot that has happened in the early years, but it was a very wonderful time, a great start, a great beginning, and you just kept it going even as we moved from Chicago to Ghana. and it just expanded to having all these great speakers come on and start doing classes beyond the languages. So yeah.
And so you've seen the transition. Even before V Bulletin, some people remember we had a V Bulletin board. Before that, it was YAB, yet another bulletin board that was coded with a script called Perl. That was the first one. It was just so much, and I'm back to coding now as well as Ajakwajo, because when we say Abibitumi Casa, this is Black Power language. But then we said Abibitumi because, well, there's also Abibitumi Designs, Abibitumi Store, Abibitumi various manifestations. And part of that transition from Abibitumi Casa to Abibitumi.com was the vision of my brother from another mother, Ajakwajo. I don't know if maybe we can bring him on.
He's supposed to be on.
He's his producer. Oh!
There we go.
Oh!
He was supposed to be here all along.
Right on time. Right
I'm
on
here.
time.
I'm here. I was enjoying the conversation, Carla. I had a total blank.
I find that difficult to believe, but okay.
So let's hear from you, Ajakwajo, in terms of what possessed you to get into what you've gotten yourself into, which is helping to build the largest digital dentistry in the history of the world. We say dentistry because to get Black people off of cracker platforms is like pulling teeth. We got a lot of inside jokes with that. But Ajakwajo, what possessed you?
I'm gonna use two sayings that I acquired to, and I do have aspirations to learn how to say them in tree. So there's a couple of them. The first one is eat ground nuts for people who have teeth. So back in, I don't know, it was 2016, 2017, something like that. I think if the eyes are looking for something, it will find it. So at that point, I was searching for, I was helping out Nana Renoka Rashidi and his endeavors in terms of putting together study guides and stuff like that. And I just so happened to see a video of a talk by you on YouTube. And that day I quit YouTube. I think it was 2016 was my last post. And I joined Abibitumi Casa, as Kala mentioned, Abibitumi Casa. And, I'm there, I'm going on the forums, and I'm starting to see a pattern. I'm seeing a pattern of, at that time I was still posting on Zuckerberg's book about, hey, we got this thing coming on over here. I'm thinking everybody should do the same thing I just did, just quit. Makes sense to me. So I'm posting over there, hey, you got talks coming on here. And people will be like 1,000 people, like, oh, I'm going. And 2 people will show up. So I saw this happening over and over and over. So then I said, you know what? Forget that. Baba Kamal told me a story about one friend walking ahead and one being in quicksand, and the friend trying to pull him out with a rope. And the person in the quicksand kept pulling the other person back in. So sometimes you just got to let go of the rope. So at that time, I just let go of the rope. And I joined the bulletins. I enjoyed the bulletins. It's like, for example, Abibitumi Casa is still active. There's over 300,000 unique posts about any topic you want to know in the Black world is still there. So I was like a kid in the candy store. But I started noticing people start saying, hey, you guys don't have this. You guys don't have this feature. You guys don't have this feature. You guys don't have this feature. And at that time, I had already been exposed to Nana John Henry Clark, Nana Yosef Ben Yakinen, all these people, all these scholars sacrificing their terms, right? Their time, their energy, their resource, their money, and their spirit. And at that point, I said, you know what? I made a decision. And I think I told you at that time, the decision that here I have a scholar of your caliber, and I didn't want you doing web design because it was selfish. I wanted the research. So I figured the more I take away you doing the web design, the more research I can get out of you. So I was like, seems like a fair trade-off, right? I'll take over doing that. You keep doing research and keep teaching tree and keep teaching about why Kemet matters and the danger of the story, single story. I'll let you do that stuff. I'll benefit. So it's really selfish for me. So yeah, we had this saying, learn how to chop down trees by chopping down trees. So in 2018, I pitched the idea to let's transform this thing. Let's take this thing to the next level, open it up, make it more quote unquote modern, so to speak. Put some of those bells and whistles people were talking about into the system. And yeah, 2018 was, I think it was like the first 3 months, it was like, I didn't sleep. And exactly, I said, like, what did I get myself into? So I definitely felt the long nights. But as you can see, 20 years later, we're here, getting blacker and better and bigger. So it's definitely worth it. Yeah, and then the other kind of quote is seen by seen, hold up that will hold you up. So whatever skill set, and I'm making a call to the people on this live stream today and who might see this video. Oftentimes you see your videos on YouTube and you see the comments, right? Oh, I love Dr. Campbell. Oh, he's this. No. We don't need that. We don't need that. What we need you to do is whatever skill set you have that can contribute to Black liberation, bring it. Bring it to Abibitumi.com, sign up, and get some skin in the game. That's a song we have. Get some skin in the game. Bring those skill sets so we can make it better for the generations that's not here. At some point, we're going to transition, and we want to leave our children and our children's children's children with a tool that they can use for their liberation. Otherwise, what are we doing? So yeah, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to get bigger and blacker and better. And let's go.
And, as you mentioned that, so I definitely got to thank you for helping me to be able to, so I have over 50 publications. So this is my first single authored book, but I have, other books, co-authored, co-edited, and so forth and so on, therapeutic communication, on the role of linguistics in healthcare, aspects of Akan linguistics, Akan semantics, rather, just, other books, other articles, and so forth. But construction of Black civilization for me is monumental because, one, I've been working on it for longer than I've worked on any other single publication. But, also, to have over 50 publications, it means that the time that I would have spent coding this or having, send newsletters and so forth, that you've definitely taken up a lot of the slack on that. Amakala of coordinating the Abibitumi exclusive seminar, Ama for sending out the newsletters, just everybody who's chipped in, Onuwara, who has basically taken over the director role for the film festival and the conference. Everybody's playing a role. And yeah, that does free me up to be able to do a lot more where it comes to the scholar.
And looking historically at Nana Omowale, in terms of Nana Abibitumi Shabazz and all those people, it wasn't alone. Scholar mentioned, for me too as well. I realized that you were a father, right? You're a father more so than a scholar, a lecturer. You're a father, you're a husband. So you have to be that balance. Has to be that balance that you have the time to do those things. So whatever people have out their skill set, it takes, like Baba Kamal said, it takes a system to take down a system. So whatever we can contribute to doing that work, we need to come on board and get some skin in the game, so that, we don't have to put all the burden on one person or two people or the family, your family. You guys have to be a family at the end of the day. So yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I did want to add. Go ahead,
Mama.
No, just adding in the other part of what Abibitumi has become, which is a space where we are able to transform lives. I mean, in the sense that, a lot of times when we think of Black liberation, and we have a lot of scholars who talk about what we've accomplished as a people, a lot of that is things that we tend to just we learn about, we read the book, we watch the lectures, and then that's the end of it. And here on the Abibitumi, we don't just have the study, we don't just have the information for our people, but we also have ways of feeding people on the practical level. People who have come through and they're able to get financially settled and set through teaching classes with us, or some of the programs that we've created to help build wealth amongst our people. So it's not just about what we learn, which is a very important and huge piece of what we do, but it's also about transforming lives, making people's lives better, helping them their livelihood, bringing people back home to the continent, and all of these things and building relationships. I believe Benfo had mentioned earlier about people who got married as a result of being in the classes from Abibitumi. All kinds of connections and relationships and transformative things have happened through Abibitumi, and that's part of what I feel is the legacy of Abibitumi, we're not just creating the information to transform us mentally, but we're creating the practical steps to financially free ourselves, so that this is something that could feed your families, and transform your lives beyond just the information. So
I'm going to be real brief, real quick, because I know we have some amazing. I get the privilege of being backstage, so I know we have some powerhouse people backstage waiting, and I can't wait to bring them on the stage. So I'll close by saying myself personally is that we have some tools. I like to call them tools, right? Coming out, we have our own apps. We have our own communication app. We have our own abibitumi.tv.com. We have our own media app. So we have apps out there that are meant to be those things that we use for our own liberation on our own terms, right? We own the content. We can monitor the content. If you're a person out there watching this video right now, live or in the future, and you have an idea, we welcome your ideas. Come to the table, and we work together to bring those to the table for our people. So, with that said, with your permission, Mama Kala and all Benfo, I will go backstage and do my backstaging. I know we have an exciting guest coming up. A lot of people will recognize her name. She's been with us before. So, there you go.
All right, Blacktastic. So I thank both of you for sharing. Ajako Joe, Mama Kala, couldn't have done it without you. 20 years down, 20 years, 20,000 years to go. So on that note, we also have Nana Ama Selassie. I believe she is backstage. Hey. Now, for those who don't know Nana Ama Selassie, I don't know where you've been. You definitely haven't been to the conference, because she is at every conference, coordinating the ushers, the volunteers, making everything happen that needs to happen, doing that unsung hero work or heroine work that needs to get done. So, Nana Ama, can you share a little bit about your experience helping to build Black Power through Abibitumi and Abibifahodie?
Greetings, beautiful people. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Everybody hear me? All right. Just want to make sure. Thank you, Midasi, for having me here. Yes, I'm Nana Ama Selassie. I have latched on to the family in the last 3 years. I started as a volunteer during the first conference. And I went from volunteer to usher, volunteer / coordinator, and conference support team member. It has been a journey for sure. To know my history with Abibitumi was a little bit later this year. It will be 5 years total. And I remember being in the US or the Turtle Island, and I think it was the early history before some of the stuff we've had with the conference stuff and things. It was kind of slow going, and I was not engaged. And it was not until I came to Ghana where I became more active. I've always been an active member of my community. I have a master's in social work, focusing on community organizing and community development and program management and things like that. So that gives me great joy. I come from serving. That's where I grew up from, being the oldest in my family, and my mother saying, "You're the leader. Your little brother and sister are looking at you. So what you do, they will do." So that never leaves. Firstborn leadership, particularly for my family, my mother and father who have transitioned. But basically for me, I want to share a little bit about the building that support system and the coordination. That was really the piece by doing conferences before, attending conferences, and as I said, being in part of the two places where I was born in Los Angeles. My mother is was a native Louisiana woman, and my father was a Texan. I have to give honor to both my mother Edwina and my father Charlie, because without them I would not be, because I am their seed. So in understanding coordination, it comes once again for the leadership where you come. Put your hands in, light hand make for light work. I'm sorry, I'm getting it all mixed up. Many hands make for light work, which means many hands make for light work. Sorry.
You got it.
But yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm also very excited about what I call conference planning as a nurtured part of team building and teamwork, relationship building, and communication. Those things are key to any of those things. Conference planning has many, many components. And, I would say with volunteering or being part of the support team, they're the first contact. They set the tone. They create the welcoming, safe, organized space. I call them the heart of the system. The brains comes from Abatile, and the family and their dream and their vision. And we are the ones who help with the system heartbeat, because with that, the training, the preparation, all those these essential things will logistically lead us to relationship building. The key to gaining that group trust and drawing on their strengths and working to build a team. The ushers, from going to being that volunteer that first year, I don't remember how I got involved. I saw it and I said, and I live many hours away from the headquarters. Yet my heart was like, yeah, I'm coming. I had faith in knowing what you were doing and what you were going for. As an African-centered woman, it really was up my alleyway. So I wanted to be there. So, and being part of the early part of an usher, which was actually a volunteer, because there was another group. But I just joined in, and I was probably one of the older volunteers. So I kind of stood in places which may or may not be allowed. But for me, running a system means if you get things in places, all you got to do is keep doing. It's a pace. And always, for me, eye contact and making sure everybody's well, making sure everybody's got, making sure. So communication, getting back to that communication. But the ushers or the volunteers, are the vendors. They work with other logistics. There's many things that have evolved in the time that from the first time to last year to where we're going, and we are going a chief. And once again, really minimizes, things that would be getting, misunderstandings. It builds that trust. It strengthens that relationship and prevents some of the things that people can get frustrated. We have language differences, because when I say one word doesn't mean that you understand, particularly where we are, because British English is different than, Turtle Island English. So I kind of remember that. And then I think of, okay, how do I want to be treated? Smile, greet people. Hello, beautiful. How you doing? Do you need something? And modeling. For me, it's modeling. When you see me doing it, it'll trigger, say, and then when I have my little powwows and working with, the young women, which has been the bulk last year, and the year before, we had a mix of different people. So, but also just being respectful, giving respect and accepting that respect. Also sometimes respecting the fact that they're saying, oh, but Nana, I'll do that. And I'm like, oh, but because just because I can lead doesn't mean that I have to. And they're also respecting me for my age. So putting this all together is like, this is an interconnected system. And these elements of fiction function effectively if we create that environment where people feel welcome, supported, empowered, so that they will then also contribute. And contribution is reciprocal. It's like the circle. Mama, I'm sorry. Mama marimba, let the circle not be broken. Right. And I think of that. I'm an extension. And as we grow, if we're linking together, that circle can grow. And as part of the family, it's also that link, because you have brought us in. And those of us who continue, as I've seen in these last few days, of that heart of people who have had faith. Right. And you in particular, my brother, I honor and I'm so honored to have you as a leader of this. It puts me, and I know divinely that I'm where I'm at for a reason and a purpose, and I'm walking that purpose. And I like the journey I am having with you and family. Midasi.
Midasi pa. So you do all, Nana Ama, you do all, as we say here in Ghana, no size. You're really, the engine that makes all of these things happen during the conference, during the film festival. And it's always a pleasure working with you. So thank you so much for coming on. Mama Ama Selassie, you will see her. All 12,000 some odd members of Abibitumi come to the conference this year, because this is one of those gems, one of those stars who you need to meet. Abibitumi, Abibifahodie. All right. So also,
Abibitumi, Abibifahodie.
That's it. All right. So the next person who we have on is known by some as Baba Neville Buchanan. I also know him as Baba Girma Melekot. And this is the husband of someone who many of us have known for years as one of the most hardworking, dedicated ladies that you could ever imagine. Just such a sincere driving force for our people, Garveyite and Baba Girma Melekot. They were hand in hand working as part of the Marcus Mosiah Garvey Foundation. And he's joining me right now. Baba Girma.
Yeah, greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh,
loud
great,
and clear.
Fantastic. Because I can't hear myself, so I'm glad you can hear me.
Don't worry, thumbs up, we can hear you. Loud and clear.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we wanted to bring you here, and I love the red, black, and green that you're wearing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, man.
See, right in the spirit.
You see?
Right in the spirit. Got the badge, Nana, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And, over the years, we've had Marcus Mosiah Garvey Foundation always demonstrate the work, right? The hands-on work of training young electricians, just in that same spirit that Nana Marcus Garvey talked about, of the things that we have to do in order to build a nation. And then also Mama Wudasi. Some people may not know, but the Mama Wudasi who I'm speaking of transitioned, I think maybe it was a week after the 2025 Abibitumi conference and Abibifahodie festival. But even when she was not feeling well, she did everything from putting the flyers together, the program for, the awards. And this is her right here, the image of her. She put together the award ceremony. She went and got the bronze awards that we presented to President Ibrahim Traoré, his representative, and that of President Mahama. All of the citations that went to Fuse ODG, that went to Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., that went to Kwame Alkutu Bamfo, that went to all of our awardees. And this is the spirit, even when she wasn't feeling well, she wanted to even come that day, but she was just like, oh, I'm not feeling well. So I'm just going to say, we had no idea. We had no idea. And that's, how, when our loved ones transition, it's always like, if I knew, I would have just given her one more hug. If I knew, I would have just called earlier. Actually, when I found out, I had tried to call 1 hour before someone called me and told me that she transitioned. But this is a pillar. And I use the present tense intentionally, that she's still a pillar of the Black community, Black people throughout the world. So if you can, just maybe share some thoughts about the role of Mama Udasi, and then you yourself also representing Marcus Mosiah Garvey Foundation, and how we've worked together as Abibitumi and MMGF.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very all the nerves are still very raw in terms of what happened on the 23rd of December. I mean, it was such a shock, such a surprise that it's something that will stay with you for the rest of your life. Really, it was so unexpected. She had so many plans. She had planned out the whole of 2026, where it was already planned out as to what we were going to do. So to have her leave us at that stage was really a great shock to all of us. But I mean, she was a true Garveyite, in the sense that I think that's why she saw it as important to work with an organization like Abibitumi, because the principles that run through MMG Foundation and the principles that run through the Abibitumi are along the same lines in terms of Black power, Black liberation, Black empowerment, Pan-Africanism, and African race first. So it's really she saw the work that Abibitumi was doing, and it aligned with what we were trying to do. So I think it was a natural it was a natural partnership. It was a natural collaboration. Of course, I think within the whole organizational structure of Abibitumi, I mean, she took charge of the award ceremony. Naomi is very good at organizing events. She's got or had a very long contacts list, and she's got a way of inviting people to events, a way of inviting them that they can't refuse. They usually turn up. So for example, in 2023, we had Kwesi Kote, and the former secretary of President John Mahama, who was also the vice chair of the AU. He came to the Abibitumi conference. Also, Akwesi Babio came that year as well. And also the Jamaican Honorary Council. I'm sure Mr. Emil Bonsu was there.
Yes, he was.
So she had a very extensive contact list, and whoever she invites, they usually turn up. She usually makes sure they turn up. In terms of what we do, as you have explained, what we do, we train young people between the ages of 18 and 35 to do electronics, domestic wiring, solar systems installation and maintenance. We also do CCTV installation and maintenance. And also this year we've started a course in graphic design, photography and streaming. I mean, these are all courses or paths that youngsters can take to find employment or to create businesses for themselves. These are also vocational trades that we feel that it will take some time before AI take away these trades from young people. So, it'll be a while before, an AI robot come and put solar panels on your roof. You understand?
Right.
So there'll be employment in these fields for some time to come. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you very. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this is what we do. This year we've also added the whirlwind, again based on the philosophy of Marcus Garvey. We've added the MMG whirlwind, which we hope will act as like an employment agency, because when graduates graduate from us, from our courses, they still have issues in terms of actually finding employment and finding work. So we have set up this MMG Whirlwind Limited that will go out and bid for contracts and help them to find work after they've graduated. So that is all part of it as well. I mean, the whole project, our whole project is based on, the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. Right. Because from the outset, Garvey founded the UNIA in 1916 or whatever. One of the first projects he undertook was to establish this vocational training course project in Jamaica. He didn't work in Jamaica, so that's why he went to America initially to seek the advice of Booker T. Washington. So it ties in. We have a similar situation here in Crocobita, where we live here in Ghana, to what we had in Kingston, Jamaica. So we have kind of applied the same principles based on today's issues and possibilities and so on and so forth. Of course, in terms of our relationship with Abibitumi, of course, that will continue. We will endeavor to work and continue whatever agreements, collaborations that we've had with our partners in the past. We will certainly continue to uphold these collaborations and these corporations, because as is rightly said, this is how you build. This is how you build. That's right. What we need to do is to build institutions. Right. The MMG Foundation our intention is to build an institution, build a world-class training center where we can train young people. I mean, we hear people talking about how our population here in Africa will be the largest. We'll have the largest and youngest youth population in the world within 20 years. Now, what are we going to do with all these youths? I mean, that's right. We have to come up with policies that's going to make this a blessing rather than a problem. So I'm sure Abibitumi, MMG Foundation, we're all Garveyites, we're all Black nationalists, we're all Pan-Africanists. So we have to work together to make this a reality for this generation, and also when we have passed, and something to hand down to the generations that are coming. I mean, I personally, I'm very happy at this stage in the sense that, let's just say a few years ago, only people of a certain age I used to see coming to Ghana, mature people. But now you're seeing more young people coming who want to get involved in issues in Ghana and looking for possibilities, investments, etc., etc. So it's like I've seen, I've seen the fulfillment of certain things that we had hoped for when we were all younger. We're now old men with gray hairs, but they're happening. They're happening. So it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
I want to thank you, Baba Girma. I want to thank you for your work. I want to thank Mama Mudasi for her work. The award ceremony is just incomparable. And we had this running joke anytime I saw her, where I was saying, if the people of Jamaica are as organized as she is, then that must be the most organized island, and I just have to go there. People just, she was like, it's not everybody on the island who's like me. I said, well, at least we got one here. So,
before I go, I'd just like to remind you of this.
Oh, wow.
This is a citation that she received from Abibitumi, acknowledging the work that she that she did, and also she also got a certificate of appreciation that she also got from Abibitumi, and she really appreciated it. The recognition that she got from the Abibitumi organization. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Baba Germa, for coming on. So, all right. So, MMGF Abibitumi continuing to make it happen. And I think next we have my sister from another mister who's actually going to be interviewing me tomorrow. Abibifahodie. And we have Baba Abraham Haile Biro. So if we can bring him on next. And he just was on with us yesterday for Abuna, the film screening. And it was just an amazing time that we had. He's in Ethiopia, and they're a couple of hours ahead of us. So we're going to bring him on, very shortly. Amake is also an hour ahead of us in London. All right. And I'm hearing that Ohene Nana is ready now. So if we can bring on Ohene Nana, who does our photography. Last year was his first year doing it as our official photographer. Before that, he was doing it unofficially. And he also has coordinated our fashion show over the years. So if we can bring Ohene Nana on, and we'll come back to Baba Abraham, we'll come back to Amake. All right. And as we're bringing him on, we're going to go ahead and put up the QR code again. And the QR code, anybody who wants to contribute to the Blacknificent, Blacktastic work, you can do so. It's coming up in the corner in just a second. Hey, and who is this? Impact. Media coordinator, fashionpreneur, extraordinaire. You left off extraordinaire. I guess it couldn't fit underneath, but all of that needs to be there anytime we mention your name. So, Nana, I want to talk to you about a couple of things, and I'm gonna let you, do it as you see fit. But you've worked with the Abibitumi Conference fashion show, the Abibifahodie festival fashion show, dealing with cultural production. You sew, you do videography, drone shots, everything you can imagine. So if you could talk about that in the context of Black aesthetics, and then also why you're excited about the upcoming events, because you're going to get a chance to do what you do, the fashion show, the videography, photography, all these things. So go ahead, Ohene Nana, tell us something good.
All right, greetings everyone. I hope you all can hear me.
Absolutely, we can hear.
Great. Greetings. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. So I think I can now feel what Enama was feeling when she was speaking. I'm beginning to get nervous as well, because this is a Blackrific, Blacktastic platform, and then is when it comes to the Black community, with people like you, and then all these big people in the background, Nakala, Nana Maria. I don't know where to start from, but let me just rattle around. So before Abibitumi became a community and platform to me, my foundation of African consciousness had already begun subtly, through the teachings, vision, and then the work of Apostle Dr. Kwejo Safu Kanzanga. Yes, the one known for the Kanzanga cars you drive. So growing up, his philosophy of African innovation, self-reliance, creativity, and belief in the capability of Black people, it really shaped how I saw Africa and my role as a young African creative, even though I was still not really getting it. But then I think that really set me up and helped me so much. So the one thing about Kojisafu that Kansanka that he consistently demonstrated was that Africans or Abibifo, let me in our platform we say Abibifo, Abibimine, we must stop doubting ourselves and begin building for themselves. And then he wasn't just saying it, he was doing it, he was showing action, he was living it. It was like a living proof. So through technology, industry, fashion, education, he did a lot of things. So and then that made me realize that it's possible when we believe in our own minds and abilities. So meeting the Cambon family, I think it was around 2019, 2020. I did not really understand the whole, yes, I was getting to know you all. And then you gave me an opportunity to experience the Cambon family and then what you're doing. Then it began to grow, it maybe grew my curiosity in what you were doing. Abibifahodie, Abibitumi. I'm like, these people are from the diaspora. So I'm being real here. I'm trying to talk real. I've been for if you are here. Like when I met you, I'm like, these people are from the diaspora. What is this? They are using the whole Abibifahodie, Abibitumi. They are using like local tree terms when most of we are shying away from it. Even those who want to use it, we are shying away from it because the whole society and the community sees it in some way. So it grew my curiosity actually. So gradually I was seeing it, I was getting to understand. And then one thing that I also learned from Apostle was loyalty and then also service. Because it's funny, this man has a church of which later I was asking questions like, you are in for Black liberation, you are saying all this, why do you have a church? Why are you doing religion? It was later in the years that I got to understand that he needed, at the time where he grew up, this is my own understanding, at the time where he grew up and then where he was coming from, he needed to get away to get followings, people to follow him, people to hear him out first. Then he began to give them the real message, the real cause. He had opportunities to go to the United Snakes. He had he was given the emeritus title by the Alfred Nobel institution, something in Ukraine or something. I heard when they called him, when they invited him, he told them, "Go in tree. I am here. And I am living in my Ghana, and then you've seen the tremendous work I'm doing, and you want to appreciate me. So you better bring it." And yes, they flew all the way from the United Ukraine and some other places, and then they came to Ghana to give him that title, the emeritus title, and then he earned the professor title, emeritus title. So back to the Cambon family. I grew curious, and then I also wanted to serve because I wanted to understand more. And then it tied in with somewhat of what I was hearing from Apostle Kojisafu Kantanka. That is what grew my curiosity. So gradually, you are also open arms, wonderful Blacktastic family, the Cambon family, because of the works and then the vision and then where you know you're going. You're also so open arms to others and everybody and people around. And then you give people the opportunity to show themselves, prove themselves, use their talent to help with the work you're doing. And that is tremendous. So Nana Marcus Garvey once said, "A people without the knowledge of their past, history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." And I believe spaces like Abibitumi continue that journey of reconnecting Africans to those roots. But especially, oh yeah, true. Thank you. It's good. Nana Maria's name, don't forget. I can never forget Ama Kambon. And especially Nataki. Whoa, Nataki is such a beautiful, sweet headache. Nataki is, I don't know. I don't have the words to describe who she is. She's just a magnificent person. And Ama, oh my gosh. the kind of bond I've grew with. So the last time Nataki was telling me, I have so many pictures of Akosia and I. And then later she was like, I've seen so many pictures of you and Nanaya when you're kids. And and she, oh my gosh. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, guys. This family, I was actually given a name there. Abenfo, can you remind me? It was like unofficial Cambon or something Cambon. Like almost everywhere
Yeah, it
we
was
go.
something like that. Yeah.
Something unofficial Cambon or something, because
honorary Cambon or something along those lines.
yeah, honorary Cambon or something like that. Because everywhere, and I was also ready to. So I stopped a lot of things that I was doing. I stopped or paused on a lot of things that I was doing because I really wanted to. Even though I now understand where the vision and the direction is going. And I heard you talking on the first day when you were mentioning the great, your willingness, the drive, where.
Okay. All right, no problem. So I think Ohen and Nana had a brief technical hiccup, but we are going back here. We have the QR code, and that one is good to go. Next, we are going to have Ekua or Ekia, depending on which dialect you're speaking, and Baba Kashan. They're also part of the fashion show. And all right, Black Tastic, if we can bring them on stage. And we have something very exciting for the fashion show this year. So, Ekia, Wakashan,
Greetings.
Abibitumi, Abibifahodie, Black Power, Black Liberation, Abibitumi and Habasha making it happen as always. Wild Seed, we're doing it with the fashion. You see, I got my fashion going on. I got my all clothes. I don't know if y'all can see that nice all here.
Hey.
That's my fashion style. Just don't sleep
you
now.
See, I also pull mine out too. Big up to Rosni, who will be one of the designers. I had to come with wear too. So we all representing, give thanks. Yeah, greetings. First, I just want to say big up Abibitumi. I got to start off by just bigging up everybody else giving their testimony. So if I could give a small little testimony at your body,
go ahead with your best self.
Yeah, how just first of all, I have to big up your mother and your father, you know what I mean? Because they birthed you, they brought you forward. And not only that, how they guided you. So big up Mama, big up Baba for, this work, because it truly is through them that you are now here. So that's real. And to see that full circle moment. So you were someone I look up to as a big brother in many ways, and your family. What you've brought forth, but again, those who even brought you forth. So just big up the whole BB2B family, big up the Cameron family. 20 years, but we know it's been longer than that because again, Mama, was bringing our people over even to Ghana, setting the foundation and doing things to set it up. So we know it's been much, much longer than that. So yeah, I just want to say, enough respect, enough love. Why y'all there? Pa, for the work and continue, strength, protection, guidance, prosperity for you, as the leader and for the entire family, right? And it's an inspiration for myself and for Habasha for us to have been working together hand in hand, inspiring each other, seeing each other's families grow. It's a blessing. And so you are an exemplar for that, and your family is also an exemplar. So we give thanks for the entire Abibitumi family. So I wanted to make sure I said that. It's more we can go into, but definitely that one is a big up, that we have to have. So yeah, we're excited to continue to be supporting, sponsoring, being inspired by, Abibitumi, and we give thanks for this opportunity that we have with part of the events that we'll continue to connect on. So yeah, Joe Badale, I'm just grateful for that. And as you mentioned, we have Wild Seed, who is a part of our team on many levels. Sister Aquia here, who is a family member of Habesha, one of our Habesha alumni who's now here in Ghana, and in her own right, you know, stands on her own too. So give thanks. Sister Quia, you want to share a few words and introduce yourself?
Greetings, give thanks. There are a few words. Okay, so as Brother Kashawn said, I'm coming from Atlanta by way of Connecticut. Graduated from the Habesha Works family, the cohort 14 last year. Accepted the position as one of the fellows here as a St. Kofa Black and Green Fellow, where I'll be doing work here in the Atiwoti at Kasi for 12 months. And within that fellowship, we are putting together a wonderful event. I'm sure we'll get into it. I'm a photographer, videographer. I make things like clothes and accessories. So I'm a creative, and that's just a little bit about me.
Blacktastic. And we are going to get even more creative. I think we can maybe even, if we can fit him, we may bring Ahene Nana. I think he came back on. But we're all working on the fashion show. One thing I've been talking about for years is that we have to wear our own clothing. We have to wear our own. I talk about if the Chinese can build up a multi-trillion-dollar, economy on the basis of Kung Fu flicks. They ain't have nothing but Kung Fu flicks. That what we could do is just say, you know what, we're not buying cracker clothes no more. We're going to make our own. So you make your own clothes, or Hinanana makes his own clothes. Me and Baba Kashawn, we wear it and make it look nice, as well. We ain't no slouches ourselves. But this can be the foundation of our entire economy. We can pick any one thing. And this is one thing that I say we can do. I did an interview with the UNIA about 3 weeks ago, and they were like, wow, you even wear drawers made by Black people. How do you make your own drawers? I was like, your wealth is in your mind. Literally the same way you can get a cloth and say, make me mboob, make me wrap, make me this, make me that. You can take that same material and say, make me some drawers.
Well, actually,
go ahead.
I cannot show it on camera, but I'm actually wearing a drawers made by myself. So within, I think it's been 5 years now, I've never bought what we in quote unquote boxer shorts outside. I've never bought any.
That's all.
I learned to make them myself, and then
that's
I have
all.
people that I've made it for, and then they've been advising me to do it like on a public. But I'm like,
no, I can't show mine. I can't show mine.
So it's been like 5 years. I've never bought any boxer shorts outside. Like,
give that man a round of applause, man. Come on now. That's what's up. And this is a shout out to Nana John Henrik Clark. Because Nana John Henrik Clark said this, that's what got me thinking about it. He said, "A people who can't make their own drawers can't run no nation." And that stuck with me. And I had, like ever since I was 19, I'm 46, about to be 47 in 3 days. And ever since I was 19, I said, I'm only wearing clothes made by Black people, period. But it was only when I moved to Ghana that I had clothes that were old enough. I was like, I can't really wear this out anymore. I got a hole over here. But I was like, what I can do, this is still good material, right? So what I can do, I gave it to a sister who I taught at AUCC. And I said, all of these, flowing robes, make me some drawers from these. From that day, not a single day in my life have I ever worn drawers by a cracker. From cracker drawers to blacker drawers. That must have been 2014. It was not too long. I taught at AUCC in 2011, so like maybe a year or two after that. From operation, this is our operation. So anybody who's listening, y'all the ones who can make it happen. Me and Baba Kashawn can make it, look, nice, if y'all need some models. But Operation Cracker Draws to Blacker Draws. Say it with me. Operation Cracker Draws. Operation Cracker Draws. So we're gonna do a draw segment. We're gonna do a draw segment.
Yes, we will. I thought about that some years ago. Yes, we will.
So I
Like
did a fashion show at Reggie Rockstone's what do they call it, studio, whatever, at his place, right over near Donquat Circle, Sankara Circle, and all of us were, most of us were bare chested and whatever, and it can be done. I just saw Reggie Rockstone at the Caribbean Week. We're gonna do some draws and swimsuits. We want some swimsuits for Black people. Who's with me?
Hello, that's what I do. I have swimwear.
Oh yeah, awesome.
So y'all need to come to the conference if you want to see some good-looking Black people tastefully wearing some drawers and swimsuits. This is a place to be.
But I mean, for this year's fashion show, I cannot tell you how much myself, even though as a facilitator, how much anticipation I have for it, especially when Babakashon and then Ekia came on. I'm like, whoa. And then Honora, when I'm speaking with Honora is like Honora is always like in my head, because we are almost always thinking similar or alike or in a certain vision. And then when we met, we had the meeting. At least I've experienced Babakashon before, so I know what he's capable of. I have an idea what he's capable of. And then Ekia too, I've seen his photography. And then while CGS, when we went to Kazi, I saw some few things. Probably she doesn't know, but I saw some few things of hers. And the anticipation that I have for this fashion show, it is off the roof. However small, however big it is, you miss so much if you miss this year's Abibitumi, right? Because we might even do it a different set. Who knows? We might even host it like a different fashion show on its own. There's something big that director Honora, and shout out to Honora. Honora is a person on his own. So I'm looking forward to this. And Babakashon, thank you so much for your support always. I've seen you work with. Thanks to your Benfo, I met you, Brother Kashon, and then thanks to you also, I've seen your vision. I've seen what you're working on. I've seen when you're working. When you're the way you all do it. Thank you so much, because I'm learning and I'm still learning from you. So if in I can we say semifuma, like when I mess up, as I am still learning and I'm still trying to get things, because even though I've had the foundation from my godfather Kantanka, now seeing he did it, he showed it, he proved it by doing it, and now seeing other people, especially diasporans, do it here, it is giving me that knowledge, that inspiration, that drive. So I can't thank you all enough. So when I mess up, please know that I'm still learning, I'm still on the pathway. The mind has been corroded for too long, so it will take a while to get back on the lane. So yes, and I know Obinfo and Barakashon, you would understand this very much, because yes, you are already there. So this year, you all would not want to miss the fashion show this year. Even last year, look at how it went last year, and then this year, whilst it coming on board, oh my gosh,
Blacknificent, Blackerific, Spectacular. I can't wait. And last year we had Amma, my daughter Amma, also, who was in the fashion show. So she ain't gonna be wearing no drawers out. She ain't part of that.
No.
She's 18. We gotta wait on that. But she did a blacktastic job. This is our marketing and promotion.
Last year, actually, Nakala was on, Amma was on, and they did it. Like, they were not informed. It was just that day I told them, and Nakala, you'll be walking on the runway. It was like me, like she, oh my gosh, they are models already, so we don't have a problem. Amma killed it, and Akala, and then she became like one of the highlights of even the models, and then people wanted to see her come again and again. She appeared like I think once or twice, and then they hope that she would appear more.
So let's bring the youths up, man. Let's bring the youths up. The youths are going to be in it. We're going to have some old folks in it. Let me not say old folks. Some elders in it. Represent. We're going to show you the whole gamut from 80 to 18, and it's going to look blacktastic. So, this, I can't wait. So, you know, the
Absolutely.
fashion show, shout out
Your
to
friend.
Baba Kashawn. These are our natural allies. Anytime Habasha does something, the whole Kanban crew's coming. Anytime Abibitumi does something, Habasha shows up. And these are natural allies. And I'm glad to have Akia, Wild Seed joining the military strike against Haynes and Fruit of the Loom and all them crackers. We putting them out of business.
Boom.
That's a wrap.
Boom.
Like a mummy. That's a wrap.
That's right.
Right.
So before we go, Abimpo, I would like to say this. As we celebrate 20 years of Abibitumi, I really want to express like a profound appreciation, like Abubakar said, to you, the Kambon family again, for your consistency, your sacrifice, your commitment to building platforms as these that continue to unite and awaken Abibifo and Africans K across the world. The impact of the work is way deeper than many people realize. Me, I haven't seen it to the end, but the impact, because I've always been questioning myself, why don't we come together to build these malls? Why don't we come together to get these Malcolms? Why are we complaining of this? Like, I always ask questions. And as someone inspired by both, by the vision of Kantanka and then the work of the Abibitumi community, I believe the future of African development will require culture, creativity, education, innovation, and unity working together, like these four of us, because creativity is in this room at this very moment. Creativity and education, or being for education, Babakashon, education and culture, Ikia, creativity, culture, and myself, unity working together. So I'm so excited about the future of the Abibitumi conference, the film festival, and the fashion show. Because these platforms continue to create space for people like me and Abibifo to tell our own stories, express our identity unapologetically, and showcase the beauty and potential of Abibifo to the whole wide world. And thank you so much, Abibitumi, Abibifahodie. Thank you so much.
And we're going to transition. We went off on a tangent, but the tangent would be good if we get Black people only wearing drawers made by Black people. It was worth it. If nothing else came out of this whole evening, but that, then we got some Black liberation happening. But I want you to share briefly y'all's vision for this year's fashion show, maybe in maybe 2 minutes or so, because we do have to move. But your vision, like y'all came to look at the space. Well, you know, what was it, last week? And it was like, we're 6 months out. And they're planning to say, all right, what's the space going to look like? Let's look at a drone shot. All right, they can walk around. I'm like, no, this is going to be, if y'all planning 6 months ahead of time of where we're going to walk from and how the carpet's going to be laid, I'm like, we're in very good hands. So maybe just briefly y'all's vision for the fashion show and just the collaboration in general for this year.
Yeah, well, what I'll just say, it's really a representation of Abibitumi in the sense of, I know the level of excellence that you love and how you do things, Obadele. So like coming out like, yeah, I want to make sure that we represent, you know, in that way, you know, just like that's the amount of respect I have for what you do and how serious we take, you know, what it is. And really we feel a part of it. So I think aligning with what you already do, you were schooling me on the 8 sides, and just everything has a meaning and purpose, right? Everything has a meaning and purpose. So that's really the power behind it. So we wanted to be intentional so we can go out, bring our minds together. And really, like I said, for me and for Habasha, I'm grateful that we have Sister Aquia and Wild Sea Origins to now bring that energy in, because even for Habasha, that creative energy is a part of our culture. Like sustainability, we talk about Kazi as far as sustainability. Culture is a main piece of sustainability. It's got to be embedded in everything. We can't grow food if we still doing it from a mind state that ain't our own, right? We can't, you know, save the earth and build naturally if we still building for our oppressors, right? So our culture has to be connected. And that's that creativity. So Aquia, you can, you know, talk more about this. This is the vision that she has to do these things. And like you said, thinking about it way ahead of time, not just setting up. I'll just say this. We had We did a fashion show in Atlanta, 2 years ago? You don't know, last year.
Yeah.
It was Wild Seed. It was a Wild Seed show. So this is a continuation of that. That one was called the fashion shower because it rained, and it was actually a swimsuit edition. Imagine that. It was a swimsuit edition. Right, look, we couldn't have got no better, right? So that was a fashion shower. So I can only imagine what we're gonna do this year. So Akuya, tell us about what we got going on.
So what we have going on is the Rooted in Runway tour, and really the vision is to highlight, bring forward, continue to share the knowledge of traditional and indigenous ways of how we create our fabrics that we wear, our garments, right? So we're talking about plant-based dyes. We're talking about sustainable, fashionable wears, but also not only just sustainable fashionable wears, you know, our fly wears. So I want to be able to showcase how we express ourselves through our garments each and every day. Also, in addition to that, it's about connecting, right? So being that bridge to connect the diaspora with the continent through art and through fashion. And the vision is also, you know, it's rooted in Black excellence. So hence showing up 6 months ahead. You know, we're not trying to do this, you know, 2 weeks, a month ahead, you know, so we want to be strategic and intentional about what it is that we are curating during the Abibitumi Festival.
Blacktastic. And we know it is going to be blacktastic, blackerific, spectacular, blacknificent.
Okay.
It's going to be just off to another level. And, you know, I'm glad to be working with y'all. So thank you all so much for coming on. We're celebrating 20 years. Tomorrow, hope y'all can join us again. This is my 600-page book I've been working on for 10 out of those 20 years. And yeah, we're just going to do it big for this entire year. Abibitumi, Abibifahodie.
Abibitumi, Abibifahodie.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to put up the QR code once again. So anybody who is interested in contributing to this blacknificent, blacktastic work, you can go ahead and click on the 20th anniversary or, you know, take a little scan of the, 20th anniversary QR code you see right there. And it is going to be, like I said, blacknificent, blackerific. All that you heard planning 6 months ahead to know where people are going to walk, how they're going to move, how everything is going to happen. It is just going to be on the very next level. So definitely be sure to check it out. That is Wild Seed, the fashion show panel. That was Baba Kashan, Sister Akria, doing a blacknificent job. And we are going to look just briefly at the film festival. Now, this is something that we've talked about. Just yesterday, we had Brother Abraham Halibiru, and, you know, it was just an amazing, amazing time that we had as we discussed cinematography, as we discussed even some of the theory that goes into what it is that, you know, he does as a cinematographer, multi-award-winning FESPACO cinematographer. So, you know, just briefly, the origins of the festival. We actually had this idea, and I brought together just several people who I have worked with through the IAS film series at University of Ghana around the idea of doing a film festival. At that time, I had a working name of Abibibiase Film Festival. That's Black World Film Festival. Onwada brought this idea of having a film festival up last year, and I was like, no, that would be a lot. That would be a lot to do. But I'm so happy that he brought this idea, and, you know, basically he brought up the combination of Abibitumi, Abibifahodie Film Festival, and it is just really something that came up from a conversation, right? This conversation of how can we bring in, you know, the young people before they go off into Nollywood and Kumawood and Gollywood and all these people who want to be an imitation of a Neanderthal. How can we actually do something where we can highlight their films, award their films, cash prize their films, to the point that they're not looking at doing an imitation of something just horrible, but they want to do something innovative that's going to bring forth the spirit of Black power and Black liberation. And a lot of the things that we're doing with the conference, with the film festival, a lot of these things are so that we can get these ideas out there. And, you know, when we talk about skin in the game earlier, if we are lamenting that people are going around praying to imaginary crackers on a stick, or praying to a rock in the desert, or, you know, they don't know who they are and all these other things, it's because our enemies have put skin in the game. They're here on the ground making sure that Black people are crazy. So the only way to counter that, and, you know, Baba Kamal would say that you can't defeat a system with a program. You can't defeat a system with a movement. He said the only way you can defeat a system is with a stronger, more Black powerful alternative. And that's what we're building with Abibitumi. And that's really not the alternative. That's the main line. Their thing, you know, he said, we don't call their thing mainstream. We call it cesspool. So, you know, what we're doing is bringing up a way where we can actually tell our own stories with the importance of Black cinema. For those who are interested, you can go to Film Freeway / there we go, right on cue. So filmfreeway.com, right there at the bottom in yellow, Abibitumi, Abibifahodie Film Festival. There are awards, there are cash prizes. Last year we had awards that are shaped like the new Abibitumi logo that you see right up there at the top. So again, Black standing work that was done. Last year we had Amake Abebrese, we had Ajete Anan. If you don't know who these are some of the biggest and best stars out of Ghana. We had Nikwate Wu. Nowadays, people are talking about bringing back artifacts. Well, he was dealing with that back in 1970, where he released You Hide Me, where he went into the basement of the British Museum. And, oh, hold on. Is it my father from another place of Ethiopia who is on with me? Abraham Halibiro, I thank you so much for coming on. This was one of our jury members who actually went into the technical side of, well, how is the camera placed? Well, how is the lighting? What are the angles? When does the camera need to move? When does it need to stay still? And I thank you so much for coming in live from Ethiopia, because I know you're several hours ahead of us and you're burning the midnight oil, but you're doing it for a good cause with us here for the Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival. Just share a little bit with us about your experiences being a jury member and selecting the best overall prize, best short film, and so forth and so on. Just share a bit with us of your experience last year and what you look forward to this year.
Yes, thank you very much, my brother. Greetings from Addis Ababa, from the capital city of Africa. አመሰግናለሁ.
The best food.
Yeah. Thank you. No, it was fantastic. You know, last year it was a beautiful, and as a jury members, we was 4 or 5, and that was a good experience to share our knowledge together and to choose. And we saw a really good talent, African talent, who is coming up. So this is a good platform for the young talent to show and also to guide them, and to give also kind of positive critique how they can make things better. So that was a good experience for me, and also for the other jury members too. So I love it, and I hope that we can do it again in November too. So I'm very excited to be part of it.
It should be very, very Black standing, Blacktastic, Blackerific, and spectacular. And, you know, with the last year, one of the, you know, things that really blew me away were some of the student films coming out of UNIMAC. So, you know, we had an MOU. For those who don't know, that's the University of Media Arts and Communications. And their wing that deals with film was formerly known as NAFTI, National Film and Television Institute. And just that partnership, one of the best things that came out of that partnership were the films that we got from the students, like Air was one, Enzo, that was the cartoon that was done. Just so many amazing films. We have the hybrids, some people who are streaming online. you yourself, you were in Ethiopia, but you were seeing the films live and in real time. We were interacting, and it was just such an amazing experience. This year, I want it to be just like that, but I want you to send me some Mizirwat through the screen. If you can also slide some Gomenwat across the keyboard.
Sure.
Kikalita, Shiro, I wouldn't know Shiro coming through as well. Sorry. I'm
Yeah. You missed that. I hope I will come soon and bring it to you.
I would love that. I filled my briefcase with frozen stuff the night before. I had, like, that was half my suitcase was the spices. I had the berber and all of those. So we have to do a film where you use your cinematography skills to show the spices. And but on a serious note, so just, this is the international character. When we say Abibifahodie, that's the Black world. The fact that we had Amake, who was in the UKKK, yourself in Addis Ababa. We had Ajete Anai, who was on, the ground. You had people, Onuara, I believe, was still in the UKKK at that time, now in Nigeria. But this is Black power. This is Black liberation. This is what it looks like. That we have to sometimes even get a vision of what it looks like on the other side of Black liberation, and that inspires us. That's what keeps the heartbeat pumping of this is what it can look like when we're not worried about getting shot down in the streets, when we're not worried about a knee on our head. What could we do? What can we produce? What experiences could we have? What does music sound like on the other side of Black liberation? And that's the driving force that is not always running away from what our enemies are doing. Sometimes it's running towards what inspires us. And this is a vision of the future that inspires us. Brother Abraham, any thoughts about that?
No. You know that Amake and Ajete and Anura, they are so talented and they are so good. So it was a good experience to share the knowledge together. So in that sense, it's very important that this platform, that I can say our festival, is very important for to transfer knowledge and to guide or to support the young talent. That's very important. So in that sense, it is a lot of things to do to create up the level, our level. When we are talking about African cinema, it is vital that dismantling colony stereotypes, and preserving culture heritage, and beyond its culture impact, it is booming economy also. It's a powerhouse, driving job and generate billions in revenue. So it's very important that African cinema provide a vital cultural force that empowers African to tell their own stories, that we can tell our stories, because until now the other side, I can say the European or the American or the other continents, from that continent tell our stories, but we need to tell our stories by ourselves, how we see it from our perspective. So in that sense, it is very important that we what you are doing, it's not easy. It's hardworking as a team, as what can I say? It looks like simple, but it is a lot of work on it, what you are doing. So I want to appreciate it at the same time and to say thank you very much for your support, because this is important, not only for Ghana or Nigeria, it's for whole Africa. It will become very, very huge, because this kind of festivals in Africa serves as a vital culture and economic engine. It's like they provide essential for African filmmakers too, by past Westerns distributor monopolies. We need to break, because if the distributor, if our movies are not distributed, If our movies are not showing in festivals, then the monopoly is unbelievable. Now the technology is much easier, and so this platform, what you are doing is like, it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. And to hear that from you, so Abraham Haile Biro is the quintessential cinematographer. Like when you hear him articulate why he did this beautiful shot, you knew the shot was beautiful, but when he articulates why the shot was done in this particular way and why even the clothes that they were wearing, why it was this color and what it would make you feel, it's like, wow, this is, I'm sitting here talking to a genius. Some of y'all know these, random Hollywood, Scorsese and this and whatever. Nah, put all of them to the side and just understand that you're in the presence of a genius. You're in the presence of a genius when you have Abraham Haile Biro. And, I just thank you so much for supporting this festival. Yesterday, you were talking about how, some of the directors, kind of took you under, their wing and brought you up. You're like a young up and coming cinematographer. And you are now in that position where, we are that new generation that's coming up to, take on this mantle. And you are a true giant, where it comes to film and how Black people have to not only tell their own stories, but do it in a way that is beautiful, do it in a way that's memorable. The scenes that I've seen in Abuna, I will never forget those scenes. The father who's crossing the desert at the beginning, the transition from the young brother who passes away to his brother, like, the pan out from the window scene, like all of these things, these are images that are like burned into my brain that anytime I ever pick up a camera, whether it's a smartphone or whatever, I'm going to be thinking about things I otherwise would not have been thinking of. So I thank you for that impact as well. And for believing in this festival, someone of your caliber to believe in this film festival, it's really just amazing. It's really just amazing. So I want to thank you, profusely.
Thank you very much. It's an honor, of course. It's an honor to be with you and to share my ideas. It's important when we share, we can get more, we know more. So it's also good that we have this kind of platforms. We need more. We need more to discuss, to talk, to express ourselves, because that platform, we don't have much in Africa. So this for me, I'm so glad to be with you. And it is like, yesterday was like I got more energy. I want to do more. I want to do more. It's like that energy what we need. Yeah, that's the power this kind of film festivals can give. It's like food for mental. We need not only food for moving and energy, but for our mental health, we need also, and that's image and or theater or cinema. You can name it, but we need also that we can say, okay, I understand it. I want to do more. I want to see our continent growing. After I don't know, after 20 years, 30 years, the African cinema will boom, because then we are capable. We will have more young talent that they can share by themselves, because until now, as we said, the other continent tell about our continent. We are not capable, or we don't have the power to tell our story. So they are telling for us, So in that sense, no, our young talent need to tell our stories by ourselves. Yeah. Then we will talk about different stories, of course. And what you are doing now, it's so good. And the future is bright for me. I wish I was younger. I become like 18.
We'll add years onto your years. I wish you have years onto your years. And when I praise you profusely, it's not just because I want you to bring me some berber or mizir. That's part of it. I do want you to do that. But it's because you are the trailblazer who has, opened the path for us, and is truly monumental. I want everyone to also, if you're online, well, everybody has to be online to be even hearing what I'm saying. But we have abibitumitv.com. We've entirely redesigned it. For that, you have movies. It goes into dark mode. When you click on the movies, you can see Quiet Warrior. You can see some of the films that have been put out there. And we have like thousands of posts that are there, that some are, films, some are movies, some are documentaries, some are things that people see somewhere else, they import it. And this is the thing. Some people don't like the ads that appear on YouTube. If you import that film onto Abibitumi TV, there are no ads. That's a little secret that we have. You can watch the entire thing an hour without ads cutting in and so forth. But then you can also upload your own independent content. And we do something with creators where it's 90-10 split. That means 90%. You can decide, you know what? I want to put this film up and I want to charge $10 for it. Out of that $10, you get $9. If you say, all right, I have a whole series and I want to charge $100 for it, out of that $100, you get $90. There's nothing on the entire internet that's anything like that. And you have people who are, oh, well, on, this white platform, there are millions of people, or I got 1,000 followers or whatever the case is. Okay, let's say that you have whatever followers you have on that non-black platform. Well, put your film on Abibitumi TV, and then if they're your followers, then tell them, go and watch it there, $10 a pop. Now your million followers, imagine each one of them paying your $10. You can become a millionaire literally just by one single drop, right? You drop that film, you're a millionaire. So it's not that you got to get off the cracker platforms, even though I would like for you to do that. It's definitely a way that you can send all of them to the place where they can see your film on a black platform. 90-10 split, there's nothing like that. You're literally getting peanuts on these non-black platforms when you can get the lion's share on our platform. And when I say our, I don't mean our in the sense of me. I mean me and you who's watching right now. So these are the things that we're doing.
It's a great news. More appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
All right. So I'm a second nalu.
They're not there. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you for everyone who is working hard to make this possible. So I'm a Saganalo. Thank you very much.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and transition. And I want to thank profusely Baba Abraham Haile Biro. Like I said, when you see his film, you're going to stop thinking about even the plot. You're going to stop thinking about the characters, and you're just going to soak up the cinematography. You'll think about the beauty of the shots that he's shooting. So it's just really, amazing. And all of this just goes into the importance of our cinema as Black people, building our film culture, but then also building our own distribution channels, and that is through Abibitumi TV. Like I said, we are doing the work of Nana Harriet Tubman, and she didn't hang out on the plantation. Her whole role was to take you off of the plantation and bring you into Black liberation, and that's what we're doing through every single means possible, through repatriation, through film, through cinema, through fashion, every single aspect. Baba Kamal would talk about how we need to do it in the area of psychology, how we need to do this Black liberation work in the area of culture and history, how we need to do it where it comes to economics in our environment, how we need to do it in the area of education, in the area of medicine, in the area of spirituality, in the area of social, in the area of political. Every single area of human activity, we have to be doing this Black liberation work. And that is what you're going to see and experience and feel and taste and touch when you come to the Abibitumi conference. So we also do the Sankofa journey. The Sankofa journey is what started in 1998. It's the reason why I'm in Ghana right now. My mother brought me here to Ghana, and the QR code is there. What I see is on this side, but I keep getting told it's on that side. So it's a reverse on the camera. So whichever side you see it, then definitely go ahead and scan that. That is for the Sankofa Journey. You can go to sankofajourney.com. Because the Sankofa Journey has been running since 1998, several other people have tried to steal the name and use the name, hijack the name. But if you don't go to sankofajourney.com and see my face and the face of my mother, it's not the real sankofajourney.com. We actually had a sister who paid for the Sankofa Journey. Was like, yeah, I can't wait. I'm coming with y'all this year. And then we had to tell her, no, you went on you're going on the fake one. That's not the real Sankofa Journey. So again, go to sankofajourney.com. Don't get fooled. And, again, this is the QR code. Check out the registration at abibitumitv.com that we just spoke about. And we want to encourage people to register for that. We also want to encourage people to register at abibitumi.com. You can download the app right now. Definitely check it out. You can also go, through the browser or through the app, entirely redesigned. Some people are like, oh, like I said, the site is confusing. I don't know what to do. There's so much going on. We redesigned the site from scratch. We have the best user experience and user interface experts on the planet to redesign the entire site from the ground up. So anybody who thought that you've seen Abibitumi before, you've not seen Abibitumi before. It's an entirely new site. The app is entirely new. If you had the app before, you need to update the app because, 3 days ago, we have an entirely different infrastructure for the code. The code has been recoded from the ground up. It's the most responsive app that you could ever imagine. You can play right in the app. Everything you could do with the videos, photos, messages, files, everything you can imagine is in this app, redesigned from the ground up. Brand new for you. So again, tomorrow's events, I want to, just give you a preview to that. We are going to do the soft launch and pre-orders are already there. If you want to pre-order, you can go to abibitumi.com/construction. But if you want to join our book launch, you can go to abibitumi.com/book launch. And that is going to be hosted by my sister from another Mr. Amake Abebrese. This is going to be a Blacktastic book launch. For me personally, and I may be biased, but this is one of, if not the most important book on Kemet in the last 2,000 years since Kemet was overrun by the Greeks, the freaks who we taught, right? Plato, all of these, Neanderthal, Thales, all of them came to Kemet in order to learn how to read and write and everything else. And they came and decided to thank us by overrunning Kemet and driving Black people out of the land of Black people. But ever since that time, this is a book that we've been waiting for. I've been working on it for the last 10 years. It's well over 600 pages. It is an amazing testament because this isn't my ideas, this isn't my thoughts, this isn't anything other than the words of our ancestors written in Medu Neter with the transliteration, with the translation, morpheme by morpheme, line for line, word for word. This is you getting a view into the ideas of our ancestors who not only called themselves Black people, but oriented their entire society on the basis of being Black. This is why we always drove non-Black people out of the land of Black people. This is why we built walls to keep non-Black people out of the land of Black people. We are away from, let's go and try to convince our Neanderthal enemies that they were Black in Kemet. We've been off that. What we are on is not only were they Black, what did they do on the basis of being Black? And these are the primary sources written by our ancestors. And I would say somebody will send you a message and they don't reply. You'll be like, oh, I'm angry. It's only one check mark. I sent this message, they ain't replying, they're ignoring me. And I say, as mad as you are about that, imagine if you took a 2-ton boulder, you carved it into a perfect cube, you made lines on it, you drew incisions, and then you carved into it, and then you dragged that boulder, put it into its place as it's supposed to be, and imagine your descendants don't read what you wrote. Now you write an email, it goes to spam, you're angry. How come you didn't read? How come you ain't checked my message? Well, what would our ancestors have to say if you haven't checked their messages? Because their messages are so important because they tell us not only what they did, but they give us the precedent of what we're supposed to do, right? Now, our enemies will say, oh, no, they're not black, blah, blah, blah. Well, how come those enemies don't say anything to tell us, well, we're not Greek either, but you don't have a problem with us calling ourselves that? We're not Americans either. That's George Washington, the ravenous murderous, torturer, the psychopathic racial personality. We're not that either. We're not any of those enemies that we call ourselves, but the one thing that we are, that's the only thing that you want to get up in arms and say, oh, you can't. But this book blows all of those shenanigans out of the water, all the gaslighting out of the water. Why? Because we're listening to the voice of our grandcestors without cracker interpreters. So you can pre-order at abibitumi.com/construction. abibitumi.com/construction. You can pre-order right now so that as soon as it's hot off the presses, it goes straight to you. And then join us tomorrow. Amake Abibifahodie, a world-renowned actress and hostess, is going to be interviewing me about the core of construction of Black civilization. And that's at abibitumi.com/book launch. So we have quite a lot that we are dealing with. And I think we can turn our attention to audience comments and questions. So those who have put questions, I think our producers are going to go ahead and start putting those on the screen. It is going to be blacktastic, blacknificent, blackerific. Y'all think I'm joking? I am not joking. This is what you've been waiting for. What are you waiting for? If you've been waiting for the Abibitumi conference, well, it's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a dope book to step to. All right, so check it out. So again, we're going to open it up for Q&A. Anybody who is in the chat who has a burning question, and I'm seeing some of the comments there. Blacknificent, yes, it is blacknificent. It is blackcellent. All hail, blacksalutely. We are enjoying ourselves. Nana Ama Selassie looks like one of the blacknificent hosts I saw at the 2025 Abibitumi conference. Indeed, she was. Much respect to my elder, Albinfo Abadale Kamba. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, the cascade. What an honor and a rare privilege it was to work alongside Mama Ama during the 2024 conference. Mama Wudasi will live in our hearts. Indeed, we were thankful for her dedication and consistency and love. Such a work ethic, working hard for our people. You will be greatly missed, Mama Wudasi. I was very opportune to meet her at the 2024 conference. I'll miss her gentle voice during our conference planning calls. And, just a stalwart, just an absolute pillar of the work that we have been doing at Abibitumi. The clothes and the photos from Ohene Nana have always been blacktastic. And yeah, this is the motto, Operation Cracker Draws to Blacker Draws. Tomorrow, if you know a seamstress, if you know a tailor, then you have no excuse. The idea is out there. We're going to build our entire economy over the billions that we were sending to our enemies. Now that's staying right here, right? Free your mind and your behind will follow. We're waiting for your behind to follow Operation Cracker Draws to Blacker Draws. So glad to have Habasha and Wild Seed on board this year, Blacksalutely. They are just going to do it so amazing. Just picture the music. Just picture the fashions. Picture the beautiful melanated people walking up and down the runway on the sacred black ground of Abibitumi, where no Neanderthal or cave beast is allowed to set foot. This is hallowed soil, and we are going to just relish in the fashions that we see. The swimsuits, the swimwear, the drawers, and the full clothing. And let me give a shout out to our producer who produces all menswear. This is all for Onuwara, and it's also the all for Obadele. So check that out as well. He has a new line coming out. So stay close to abibitumi.com. He's let me know that he's gotten more sales through Abibitumi than anywhere else. He'll just post, and everybody on Abibitumi is like, give me 2, give me 1, give me 3. So that is my brother from another mother on the water. He's also going to have his fashions in the show, and it is just going to be black amazing. So before we're going to start to wrap it up, but before we do want Nana Efiancia Asantewa Mama Mawia to come back on if she is ready, willing, and able to do so. And just part of what we're going to deal with, we're going to talk about reflections, about family, about legacy, about building for future generations. And, you know, we are really doing this all for you, right? We're doing this for Black people. We're doing this for Black liberation. We're doing this not just so that we can become ancestors, but so that you also can become ancestors. So we are setting the stage, and it's up for you to play your part. So, you know, again, as we're looking at the conference this year that is going to happen December 12th and 13th, we're going to 2 days this year. All right. And Nana Akaba.
Yeah, no.
Blacktastic to have you back on board, or Black on board, you know, with me. And, you know, I just want us to take a couple of minutes just to kind of reflect on all that was shared this evening. I hope people are Black inspired. We have a lot of plans for 2026 for the Abibitumi conference, Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival, the Abibifahodie Festival, October 16th through 18th, save the date. December 12th and 13th, save the date. We have a lot of things going on. We have the open door dialogues. We're having the media launch of that on July 17th at the University of Ghana. Just so many things going on. So this is part of our long-term institutional vision. You know, keeping people engaged. It's not about, oh, let me go say something cute online, get some likes and followers. Anytime you see me, I'm telling people stuff that they can do, that they can get engaged with. Download the app, repatriate, come on the Sankofa journey, do something, right? Don't sit there, you know, in the AC, I'm comfortable, blah, blah, blah. Do something. If you're not sure of what to do, we have plenty of things for you to do.
And
you're
certainly
seeing
we've shown a lot of that this evening, that all the accomplishments that have been made have also been a part of a collective energy. And so we praise you as the guide, the one who never wavered from the path. And we also acknowledge all of those who are here and who are now grandcestors who contributed to that, like not Baba Kamal, like Mama Wadasi, like all of those, but also those who are still here contributing, like Ama Selassie or Hininana, and our newest fantastic director, producer, Onwara. You know, this layout is tremendous. Oh, and Eja Kojo, are you kidding me? The kind of energy that he has put in over the years in his commitment to the work we've done. But to just give an overview of tonight itself, you know, we started off talking a little bit about legacy, but legacy is throughout. We talk about all the things that got you to this point, you know, understanding that legacy continues and you are certainly a part of that, and that you have grown more. And that's one thing that your father always said, that when he grows up, he wants to be like you, because you've taken the things that he's done to another level, and that we look forward to that continuing as we move forward in the years. We look forward to this year's conference. I can't imagine. I mean, you talk about the fashion show, but there's so much more in terms of the speakers who will come, the film festival, in terms of the films that will come. You can't skip any of this and be totally Blacktastic as you are. We're really excited this year for all the accomplishments that have been done and for all those things to come. We thank you even for coming here tonight. And we're sorry for those who've missed it, because they've missed a fantastic Blacktastic experience through these last couple of days. And tomorrow, please pull out your relatives out of the bed, out of the church, from wherever they are. There is going to be proof presented to you about the words that our ancestors have left to guide us. the words that they guided themselves with, and the words that we must turn into the pillar of our future as it was written and as it should be. So there are also those around who will help us to translate those, like Obenfo, like Brother Benocci, like those whose spirit is connected to the kind of work. They may not yet know all the translations, but they are prepared to learn. And we are so grateful that they have come to do that, not to just argue, but yes, to question so that they will know more and that they can build on that knowledge. But undeniably, the truth will be shown in ways that it has never been before. We've had scholars, but many of our scholars have been raised in these institutions, the academies, that taught them to write based on what somebody else has written. But they also talk about going to the original source. Very few go to the original source. The original source is what our ancestors have put down. And tomorrow you will hear more and more about it. I am so grateful and acknowledge all of us. First, our immediate family, Obenfo, Kala, Nataki, Ama, and all of our children, Kweku, Okosia, Efia, Nanayao, for being so much a part of the energy that makes this move forward. Lot do the work like Nataki and Ama and Kala. But if the other children weren't in there with us, it would make it very difficult to do. Obenfo has talked about Ejo, if he had not taken on this task to assist in the way, I don't even know if you could call it assist. If he hasn't moved in the direction that he has moved in, this book tomorrow would not have been possible because he would not have had the time to do it. So there's so many to be grateful. And so many of you who want to come and contribute and be a part of this work. This is still just the beginning. Can you imagine what we can do, what we will do when we all recognize that we are one family? Can you imagine? And to that, where is it time for the video? Is it time for the video before we move toward the closing? We want to acknowledge our grandcestor in this video.
Okay. So I think we do have a video. I'm not sure of exactly what that video is, but my producers know, and as long as they know.
Yeah, they know.
All right. That's a clip from The Quiet Warrior. So yes, if we can bring that up, because again, what we want to have everybody understand is that this is a continuation of, the legacy of Baba Kamal, the things that he has done for us, Mamu Wudasi, that we're not only fighting for ourselves, we're fighting to make sure that all of their lives and their life's work comes to fruition through continuing in what we do.
I said to myself, well, what's the end game? How do you know you got to the destination? What does it look like? What does the top person as a 5%er, what does that look like relative to Black liberation? You're a Hebrew Israelite. What is that relative to total Black liberation? What is Black liberation? Stopping whitey from killing us, stop us from killing ourselves in all these different subtle suicidal areas. You see, so the goal is to de-whitenize, drop all the whitey crap, stop acting whitish, exert your own will, wrench back your mind, and get together and just let's get this Black liberation moving and get off the white death express train. Because our goal, GOALGOLD, is the only winning end game. And that winning end game is total liberation from under white terror, domination, and deceit. And that means dealing with these savage Arabs, the savage Japanese, the savage Chinese, and all the others that are against Black African people. Now, one last thing. Cheonta Joe, the great-grandsister, multi-genius, late timid with Black people. That's what he said, Black people. So don't get in no argument about all the, well, what are we, this and that. Yo, forget all that. And this is what I say about all this confusion, dilemma, paradox. Let's deal with all that on the other side of the solution to the problem. You see, don't get caught in all this other stuff. Let's solve the problem first. And then we could come back and then we can deal with what we got to deal. We get all that straight later. So with that, this is Kamal Kamban. I appreciate the opportunity to spend some of my lifetime with you because my life is important. Now, you know, I'm going to say, when I wrote the declaration after I spoke at Howard, you know, I got all kind of death threats. I don't know, man, what has given me, you know, these things that have come to me. I didn't start out like this. I started out playing, you know, roller skating, playing skelly and stickball and all that. I never even thought about Black liberation. But as I went through all these different steps, all this process, you know, having the opportunity, that's why I call it, you got a opportunity. So when I had the opportunity to go to school, I went to school. I told you, I didn't miss no classes, no practice, nothing, man. This one, they said, do this, sweep the floor at the top of the gym. I swept the floor at the top of the gym. That's what I did. Drive to Atlanta in the cold. Yo, this is what we got to do. We got to be out here in the rain. That's what we're doing. So don't come to my wife and me. Yo, don't come with no BS. I'm telling you, don't come with no BS, man. You're not going to find two Black people on this planet more serious. Now, one last thing. I keep saying one last thing. Dr. Clark said, Nana, the great Dr. John Henry Clark, he said, don't mess with that Marxism. So communism, fascism, Marxism, totalitarianism equals barbarism. So, but Dr. Clark said, he said, you're not going to find anybody more spiritual than me. And so this is coming out of love. It might sound, but this is really coming out of love. This is what Chancellor Williams, William Monroe Trotter, Ida B. Wells, this is all of them things. So I'll leave you with this. I ask that each of you be surrounded by divine supreme, abundant, amplified, complete, compounded, comprehensive, fortified, maximum spiritual protection. Protection from your external enemies, these savages that come in all their forms. The police, the so-called government, never talk against the government. You're against the white male, M-A-L-E. The police, the firemen, the banks, the credit card, the motor vehicle, the tax people. Be protected from all of them, all their different forms. Be protected from negative Black people. Negative Black people, backstabbers, hidden agenda. Be protected from them. Keep them away from you. I ask that you receive optimal mental, physical, and spiritual health. Clean up your temple. Get away from that pork, beef, chicken, fish, the drugs, the doctors, the hospitals. All that is death. It's death. Milk, cheese is death. Alcohol, weed, drugs, cocaine is death. So I ask that you be protected from all of that. That you have optimal mental, physical, and spiritual health. Clean up your temple, elevate your mental. The cleaner you become, the more you de-whitenize, the closer you become to the pure spirit that you should be. And the closer you get to that pure spirit, the closer you get to Black liberation. Because nobody can exploit you because you're clean, you're pure. No contradiction. This is Kamal Khanbar. He at Baynou Cultural Center in Raleigh, North Carolina, October so-called 24th under the Savage calendar, 2021. Black liberation.
Black liberation. Abibitumi, Abibifahodie.
Abibitumi, Abibifahodie.
And that is Nana Abibifahodie, the spirit, the eternally living spirit of Black liberation. So this has been really a Blacktastic night. Nana, I thank you so much for being in many ways the progenitor of all the things that have happened this evening and from my birth on, actually. So I want to thank you first and foremost. I want to thank all of our guests who came on, who took time. You know, you got people in all types of different time zones who came on. Some people are up late into the night. Some are here in the afternoon. Some of us are here. It's 10:12 Ghana time. So I want to thank all of you, you know, who are guests, all of those viewers. I saw, you know, dozens and dozens of people who are in and out. I want to thank all of those for the film festival. There are some names I didn't get a chance to mention. My brother Selekem Geni, who was also part of the jury. Selassie Fiakpui, who, you know, was at every single meeting. Efosela Aye, who helped us to get the MOU. Brother Aketema, Dr. Aketema, also part of making all of those things happen, the rector. I want to thank my wife, Mama Kala, who does everything behind the scenes. We're trying to drag her out into the spotlight more, and she herself is coming into the spotlight more, but she does an amazing job with the Abibitumi exclusive seminars. Everybody who's played a role, Onuwara, directing and producing, Adakwa Joe, on the technical side, making all of these things happen. Every single person, Ama, who sends out the newsletter, that's Ama Kamba, Nana Ama Selassie, who coordinates, Brother Girma Melakot, who makes sure that the students who are learning their vocational training are always there on point, making sure that we can see the work that's happening. Mamu Dasi, her ever-loving spirit, Nefwa, who came to the conference and the Sankofa journey, who transitioned, you know, just a few weeks ago. You know, it was very Black standing to get a chance to see her and spend time with her. It was actually in her condo in Chicago that I created the blog spot, abibitumikasa.blogspot.com, and that still exists. I checked it. I hadn't looked at it in at least a decade or more, and that's her. And it was interesting. So, you know, the U and the I are side by side on the keyboard, and the blog spot. I said, "Hey, what do you think about it?" She says, "Oh, well, you need to change that one thing. It says Abibitumi Casa African Language Institute, TITE instead of TUT." I was like, "Yeah, I think that'll undermine the credibility if I don't get that." But that was, you know, her loving spirit. You know, there's everybody who has played a role in the work that we do. Brother Abraham Hali Biru, and, you know, everybody. I'm trying to list as many names as I can think of, and there are going to be names that I don't think of, but if I don't think of your name, charge it to my head and not to my heart. I got that from Ejako Joe, so that's on loan for now. But yeah, this is the Blacknificent work that we are charged to do. This is the reason why we are on the planet Earth. And this book that you see, the book launch, Construction of Black Civilization, actually sent a PDF of this to Ejako Joe. And I was thinking about Nana Amos Wilson and Brother Sababu Plata. And I said to Ejako Joe, I said, if anything happens to me, make sure that this book gets published, because this is my gift to the Black race. If anything happens to me, make sure that this book gets published. I sent a copy to Kala as well. I said, if anything happens to me, make sure this book gets published, because this is my gift to the Black race. If this book is able to come out, and it's on the way out, pre-sales at abibitumi.com/construction, and you can pre-order again at abibitumi.com/construction. But when this book comes out, this is going to be the culmination of my entire scholarly, intellectual journey. It's the culmination of everything that I know, everything that I understand, everything that is true that I have experienced. The reason why I learned Medu Neter, the reason why I've gone through all of these things, is this book, The Construction of Black Civilization. When I say it's over 600 pages, there's no filler in that book whatsoever. There's no, oh, let me just know. Every single page, every single line, every single word, curated over the last 10, going on 11 years now. And this is The Construction of Black Civilization. So shout out to Nana Chancellor Williams, who inspired the name. And keep an eye out for Volume 2. That will be The Construction of Black Civilization, Volume 2. It's already laid out. I just have to complete that Volume 2 as well. And that's going to be Destruction of Black Civilization, Volume 2. And that's going to be a Volume 2 for this book. And it's also a Volume 2 for Nana Chancellor Williams' book. So it's going to be Black Amazing. Amake Abebrese is going to be hosting, and definitely check it out. So we want to, again, thank all the guests, all the viewers. We want to encourage donations, pre-orders. That's abibitumi.com/construction for the pre-orders. We want to encourage the registration for tomorrow. That's abibitumi.com/book launch. We have all the events coming up. We have the Open Door Dialogues that's going to happen in July 17th. You'll hear a lot more about that once this weekend is behind us. You'll hear a lot more about that. We have the film festival. That's Abibitumi Abibifahodie Film Festival. That's going to be October 16th through the 18th. We have the Abibitumi Conference and Abibifahodie Festival themselves that are happening on December 12th and 13th. And there's going to just be a Black Amazing year. This entire 20-year anniversary is going to be a Black Amazing year, both virtually, as you've experienced, and on the ground, live and in person in full effect. Just the other day, I was at the night market at Legon, and somebody walked up to me. Oh, Professor, I'm so happy to meet you. Oh, I follow you. I said, oh, you follow me? Wait, what, from the car? I said, no, I mean online. I said, I know what you mean. But anybody who follows me, who agrees with me, who likes what I say, likes what I do, likes what I'm about, your opportunity to be in person is at these events that we have. So, we say Black liberation is not a spectator sport. You're not supposed to be in the bleachers cheering me on. You can't win the game when you're sitting in the bleachers. So you have to get on the field. You have to do the work yourself, alongside myself, alongside Nana, alongside all of those who are doing this Black liberation work. This is what we are put on the planet to do. And I'm happy to say that my parents put me in the position to do my life's work and fulfill my life's purpose. So on that note, I want
to say to that too, that we are so grateful that you chose us as your parents, that there could not be a more fitting thing to have happened in this world, that when it was your turn to come, you chose us to come through. For that, we say Madasi.
So on that note, I want to acknowledge and thank all of you who have been a part of this evening and have been part of Abibitumi's journey. We have people who were there in 2008 who, for whatever reason, weren't there in 2018. We have those who were not there in 2010 who were there in 2020. But wherever you fit in across this entire 20-year journey of Abibitumi, Black power, Black liberation, we want to thank all of you. And, Baba Kamal would say sometimes you got to catch people while they're in their Black phase. because once they start thinking about, oh, I got to pay my mortgage and I got to do this, and oh, this cracker's going to pat me on the head for doing that, then they just, sometimes life gets in the way. All types of things happen, whatever those reasons may be. But anyone who had a black phase that had them pass through Abibitumi, we want to thank you for your contributions, right? So I think on that note, we'll go ahead and go to libation, if I may have permission from my elders to do so, and we will close out for the evening. Ago, ago, ago. Omi tutu, il est tutu, ori tutu, ona tutu. Tutu laro ye, iba Olódùmarè tere kaye, iba Orúnmìlà ojokotun, iba Orúnmìlà ojokosi, iba Orúnmìlà barapetu, iba Ifá akerefe-sogbon, iba Ọ̀kádà, iba Ìṣẹ̀dá, iba Rabalótùfẹ̀, iba Mẹ́gbọ́n lóde Rẹ́mọ, iba Ìyìnrà iwájú wọ́wọ́ lèrò èyí, bí ẹ̀kúlò bá júbà ilẹ̀ alanu, ọmọ tí kì í júbà kíbà pa, iba Ṣàngó, iba Ògún, iba Yemọja, iba Ọya, iba Ọ̀ṣọ́ọ̀sì, iba ẹ̀yin òrìṣà gbogbo, iba ọ̀kànlénírínwó, iba orí, iba àtiyọ́ ọjọ́, iba àtiwọ̀ oòrùn, iba gbogbo ẹ̀yin òrìṣà pátápátá, iba àyíran iwájú tí àjà láti gbára wàrà lọ́dọ̀ táwọn òyìnbó, kí a kọ́ gbọ́mọ́gbọ́n, kí a kọ́ mọ́lá, kí a lówó lọ́wọ́, kí a lówó láyé, ká ṣẹ́gun wọn táwà gbogbo, kò ní sí ọ̀tọ̀ kankan tó lè fà wá sẹ́yìn ní gbogbo ìgbésí ayé wa, ká ní lọ síwájú àti ìtẹ̀síwájú, ká kọ́kọ́, ká kọ́lé mọ́lé, kí a kọ́lé mọ́lé, kí a lówó lọ́wọ́, kí a lówó láyé, kí a kọ́kọ́ mọ́kọ̀, kí a rówó lò, kí a vọ́kọ̀ wà, kí a rọ́mọ bí, kí a ráya fẹ́, kí a ní gbogbo nǹkan tí a nílò ní gbogbo ìgbésí ayé wa. Ní ti Ifá akerefe-sogbon, ní ti orí wa, kò sí òrìṣà tó lè gbẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn orí ẹni. Àṣẹ, àṣẹ, àṣẹ ooo. So as we go to a song, there's a proverb in Yoruba. They say, Ogún ọmọdé kì í gba ogún ọdún ṣeré. And it says that 20 children don't spend 20 years all playing together. Eventually, life takes them off on their paths. But I'm glad that our paths have converged on this path towards Black power and Black liberation. Abibitumi, Abibifahodie.
Black power, 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 Back at it, the black land awakens with our backs off the mattress and attacking the pavements. Retrain where our brains went, no patterns can take that. Ain't waiting on payments, we after the payback. Dust off the rifle cause the mission ain't done yet. Hands a little tired but still no rest for the gun. Sweat perfecting the aim with each pull of the trigger. Miss right, we shift sights and pulling it quicker. We logging the chop logs till our power is up. The war just went live, now get them followers up. Don't have your browsers get stuck dormant all up in the comments. If it ain't raising performance, I'm sure it's training informants. Code of Kemet, restore fragments. Cross the atlas, force like stack magnets. To pull back the blackness, keep a sharp backs, hard callous, and deep talents. Black power, return, rebuild, and rebalance. Black power, black power, black power. That's what we want, what we want. Black power, cause that's the aim, that's the aim. Black power, and that won't change, that won't change. Black power, Abibitumi, black power, that's what we want, what we want. Black power, cause that's the aim, black power, and that won't change. Black power, Abibitumi. Remember every crime and dime, drop our snitches and traitors. Every room that got raided as a dish for the gators. Strange fruits still hang when they sent to the cages. They gon' taste this bitter crop, watch them switch up their faces. We ain't chasing clicks, cause our drops go medicinal. Detox the code, no scroll, scripts physical. Drain the cesspool, the lies that go viral. Unplug the algorithm and blues that go vital. The black gold standard is when black folks stand up. Control our black gold, show that flagpole banner till we off what they hand us. Cause we strong with the hammers and we all in Kentucky's crossing all up parentheses. This a call from the graveyards to all the brave hearts. The great who ain't afraid to hate what ain't ours. The cause over applause, yeah, that's the trade-off. Abibitumi, black power, that's the trademark. Black power, that's what we want, what we want. Black power, cause that's the aim, that's the aim. Abibitumi. Black power, that's what we want. Black power, cause that's the aim. Black power, and that won't change. Black power,